Male sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. प्रद्युम्न नावाने जॉईन झालेत का सर?
हो हो आता येस 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 त्याच्याच साई नेहमी काय आजकाल जास्त ऑफिसलाच असतं त्याच्यामुळे घरच्या ह्याच्यात काही यूज नाही करत नाही. फोर्थ इयर स्टुडंट फक्त जॉईन होता का सर?
नाही, सगळे जॉईन होतात सर तसे.
ओके ओके ओके. सर शार्प 10 वाजता संपवायचंय का?
नांद्रे सर आहेत, बोडके सर दुपारून करणार आहेत. नांद्रे सर आहेत 10 वाजता.
हा नांद्रे सर 10 वाजता जॉईन होता एक का?
हो 10 वाजता.
ठीक आहे ठीक आहे ठीक, काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही.
स्टार्ट करायचं का मग?
नाही वेट करू 2 मिनिट 5 मिनिटं जस्ट. फक्त 27 जॉईन आहेत, 31 झाले. वेट फॉर 2-3 मिनिट्स.
ओके सर.
Male sir.
Yes sir.
Shall we start the lecture?
Yes sir. Yes sir. So first of all, welcome all of you, and a very good morning to all of you. So we will from last 2 days, last 2 to 3 days we are starting the lectures, tutorial classes for the preparation of JRF and SRF examination. So today is the third day of that tutorial classes. So today we start with the topic weed management, and we have the expert Dr. P.U. Raundar sir. Now he is working as an associate professor of agronomy at College of Agriculture, Pune. But before that, he was our colleagues, our college teacher. So we very welcome to Dr. P.U. Raundar sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm hand over the whole stage to you, sir. So
Thank you, sir. So
start.
it's my privilege, sir, that you are giving opportunity and to interact with previous students. So it's my pleasure, and I am always fond of Dhule College. The students, they are very obedient and very good. So, and another thing, whatever the test series you are running, it's a very fantastic way, and it definitely help all the students, those students who are doing the JRF as well as the students who are doing the CET examination, because most of the students, they are focusing on CET examination. So students, so for this, I'm thankful to Associate Dean Dr. Devkar sir, and also Mahle sir. And Mahle sir has really initiated this activity nicely. Last 3 years, he is doing a very extraordinary work in this regard. And I'm very much happy, sir, that you are doing this nicely.
Thank
Nice
you, sir.
activity.
Thank you.
So students, you know, I think I have taught you, yes or no? Anyone?
Yes.
Kamburi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how many of majority of you are in third semester, third year or fourth year? Fourth year students are there? Yes or no? Yes, Patil.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Amir is there. So, okay. So, mind it well that I will give you the first 10 minutes. I will tell you about the how to prepare for the CET examination. Okay. What is going to happen, students? Most of the time, what you people doing, you are doing the study in a wrong way. Particularly for CET examination, we the people who sets the paper, understand, try to understand. हम लोग पेपर सेट करते हैं सीटी का. Okay. So what we taught to you, it is from that syllabus. And what do you people do? You people refer the Katia notes or like that way, different notes for CET examination. So for CET examination, do one thing. You first read all the UG notes. First you read the all UG notes. So whatever the topics are there, it's from most of the questions, near about 160 question, they are straight away from your syllabus. So you prepare syllabus properly, everything will be from syllabus. Understand? Whatever there in your notes or in your manual. So don't read too much books and get confused. Second important thing, don't read the objective books initially. First, you read all the theoretical books. You read the notes. First, you read the notes, prepare your own notes. Okay, study it properly, and then you lastly you go for objective question and answering, like that way. So 160 marks for your regular curriculum, 40 marks for engineering, horticulture, forestry, food technology, and ABM. So these 5 stream, they are having a 40 marks. So from that 40 marks, horticulture you can write something, and engineering you can write something. But for forestry, you have to know the basic concept of forestry. That is a forest day, canopy, some trees, some terminologies used for forestry, like that way. You have to prepare for this one. Now we'll switch towards the JRF. For JRF plant sciences, those who are preparing, there are various units of agronomy, that is the dryland agriculture, nutrient management, water management, weed management, crop production, like that way. Soil is there. In this way, various units are there. Today we'll focus on weed management. Today we'll focus on weed management. Students, if you have any question or problem, you can definitely ask me, because I think I have taught you, so you know my concept that always I am teaching in the way of having the two-way communication. So if you ask me something question, I will be much more happy. Now we'll see, start with the weed management. So in case of weed management, we'll see the what you mean by weed. Weed is any plant which is not sown by the farmer, which is out of place, okay, and which compete with the main crop for nutrient, water, space, and sunlight. So such a crop, such a plant is known as a weed. Understand? Unwanted, undesirable, troublesome, it is called as weed. So weed, the term weed is coined by scientist Jethro Tull. Many times this question it's appear in examination. Who coined the term weed? Jethro Tull. And also Jethro Tull has coined the term tillage. So for both the things has been developed by Jethro Tull. That is father of tillage. We call it as a father of tillage. And the term weed is dissolved or tossed by the scientist known as Jethro Tull. So we'll see the weeds, it's beneficial as well as losses are there. So weed act as friend as well as foes of mankind. So if we see how it is a pest for or causes harm to
Sir,
the.
राउंडर सर, एक्सक्यूज मी.
Yes sir.
सर तुमचं प्रेझेंटेशन आहे का?
नाही, प्रेझेंटेशन नाहीये.
तर व्हिडिओ ऑन केला तर बरं होईल, कारण युट्यूबला पण लाईव्ह आहेत तुम्ही.
नाही, प्रॉब्लेम असा आहे, माझं हे नाही होते.
ओके सर, ठीक आहे ठीक आहे,
तो
कंटिन्यू.
कॅमेरा माझा स्टार्ट नाहीये, म्हणजे प्रॉब्लेम आलाय, तो सिंक्रोनाइज होत नाही आता.
ओके ओके सर, ठीक आहे.
म्हणूनच मी लेट जॉईन झालो. माझ्याकडे कॅमेरा आहे, वेबकॅम, पण तो लागत नाही त्याला, त्या टॅब याला. मग याच्यावर
कंटिन्यू करा. ठीक आहे.
प्रेझेंटेशन आहेत, पण ते कसं आहे, जस्ट नोट्स टाईप आहे, त्याच्यात काय म्हणजे कन्साइज नाही, कारण हा पूर्ण एक मोठा टॉपिक आहे. 16 लेक्चर्स मला कॉम्प्रेस करायचे आहेत आता हा याच्यामध्ये.
हो बापरे. ठीक आहे सर, ठीक आहे सर.
त्याच्यामुळे प्रॉब्लेम असा आहे की 16 लेक्चरचं कॉम्प्रेक्स सँडविच होऊ शकत नाही, म्हणजे म्हणून मी फक्त पॉइंट टू पॉइंट विद्यार्थ्यांना.
ओके सर, ओके सर.
Sorry बरं का सर, सॉरी फॉर दॅट. So weed, it's harbor a pest and diseases, so it act as an alternate or collateral host for the many diseases and pests. So many diseases and pests, they harbor in odd season on this pest weeds. Then it causes problem in animal health as well as human health, deteriorates the quality of animal produce as well as our grain produce. Like that way, it reduces the yield, it compete with the main crop, it compete for nutrients, water. Understand? Like that way, it has a competition for all these things. And if you see the beneficial effect, so it has some medicinal value, like that way. Fodder, like that. But we are not focusing on that. That's not that much important. And now we'll see the weeds. They are characteristics. The important characteristics, that is, they are having a C4 type of photosynthetic activity, means they are very hardy. You try to understand. हम लोग खेत में सीड बो करते हैं, उसके बाद में उसको पानी देते हैं, न्यूट्रिएंट्स देते हैं, उसको रेगुलर इरिगेशन देते हैं, फिर भी क्रॉप पे पेस्ट आता है, डिसीज आता है, उसका जर्मिनेशन होता नहीं। लेकिन आप लोग देखेंगे कि जैसे ही आप इस पे जाओगे, वीट रोड साइड दिखाई देंगे, उसको कोई पानी नहीं दिया होता, उस पे कोई इंसेक्टिसाइड स्प्रे नहीं है, उसके कोई नथिंग इज देयर, बट इवन दो इट्स अ growing. The thing behind this, it's very simple, that it's very hardy and it is having a C4 type of photosynthetic activity. So this is the important characteristics. Then it is having another characteristics, that is a seed size, that's very small one. The size of the seed is very small, that's why it's a anywhere it can be disseminated from one place to another. Another important characteristics, that is a dormancy. It can hibernate or go for resting period for many years. Understand, many years it will be in a hibernating stage. As and when favorable condition is there, it will be regenerated and produce the new crop. So like that way, these are the simple characteristics. Then it has another characteristic, this question asked in many examination, that is mimicry weeds. What do you mean by mimicry weeds? So mimicry means it is the weed which resembles to the morphologically they are the similar one. Okay, with the main crop. Example, wild oat and wheat crop. Initially, if you see the wild oat and wheat crop, you are unable to differentiate both the crops. Means initially both are looking same one. So you are not able to control the wheat or that oat, wild oat. So this is the condition, that is which is weed and which is a crop. You are not able to identify. Means morphologically they are similar, but physiologically they are different one. So such a weeds are called as mimicry weeds. Such a weeds are called as mimicry weeds. So many times this question it asked in examination, that is mimicry weeds. Now the most important thing, crop weed competition. Crop weed competition means it is a period. It is a critical crop growth competition period. Critical crop growth competition period means it is a period where we can see if there is weeding is there in that particular period, you will get the maximum returns. Means short span of time during the crop growth when weeding resulted in highest economic results. Means ये जो टाइम है उस टाइम में हम लोगों ने वीड कंट्रोल कर लिया तो आपको मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट मिलेंगे। जैसे कि राइस है, ओके, स्वर्गम है, मेज है, सोयाबीन, ब्लैक ग्राम। सो इन क्रॉप में 15 to 45 डेज, फिफ्थ सोइंग होने के बाद में 15 days to 45 days इफ यू गो फॉर वीड कंट्रोल, इस बीच में मीन्स नियर अबाउट 30 days, इफ यू कीप द फील्ड क्लीन वन, you will get the maximum net returns. You will get the maximum net returns. So it is called as critical crop growth period. Means in that period you are supposed to control the weeds. यदि उस टाइम में आप लोगों ने कंट्रोल नहीं किया और लेटर स्टेज में कंट्रोल किया तो उसमें बहुत ज्यादा इकोनॉमिक लॉस आता है. So scientist has found out this time. So it is called as critical period of crop weed competition. Critical period of crop weed competition. Then next terminology is the allelopathic effect. Next one, that is a allelopathic effect. This is the another important terminology. Many times this terminology has been asked. The most of the plant secretes certain chemicals into the soil which inhibits the germination and growth of other plants in the vicinity, and that phenomenon is called as allelopathic effect. So allelopathy means it is some toxic chemical, some toxic chemicals it has been secreted by the what you say, roots of higher plants, weeds, and that particularly causes the harmful effect on another species. So it is called as allelopathic effect. It is called as allelopathic effect. It's a very simple thing is there. Allelopathic effect means रूट्स जो है वीड के वो कुछ केमिकल एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं सॉइल में और उससे अनदर क्रॉप को जर्मिनेशन या ग्रोथ में हैम्पर्ड होता है, उसको हम कहते हैं एलिलोपैथिक इफेक्ट. इट इज कॉल्ड एज एलिलोपैथिक इफेक्ट. सो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द concept behind the allelopathic effect, and this is the most important concept of allelopathic effect. Then next one, that is the, we can see the classification of weed. Classification of weeds, if you see the classification, it's on various basis. We have classified the weeds as per the season. That's annual, means which completes its life cycle in one season, biannual weeds and perennial weeds. So like that way we are classifying various ways. The next one, that is on the basis of cotyledonous, that is monocot weed and dicot weed. In monocot, again we are classifying grasses and sages. Sages means nut grass. Lavara jo hai, lavara, Cyperus rotundus, we called it as a sages. So it's a very important one. Then we are categorizing as per habitat, that is cropland, grassland, weeds. Then association, with association we are doing the classification. Then as per nature of stem, woody, semi-woody, herbaceous. And the in this another important aspect, that is indigenous and exotic weeds, means the weeds which are native of India, they are called as indigenous weed. Bhartat native of India. And another one, that is alien weed, we call it as exotic weeds. Foreign weeds, they are called as alien weeds. Many times a definition or objective is there on the weed which is not native of India or that particular vicinity. It is called as dash weed. It is called as a alien weed. It is called as alien weed. So try to understand the concept behind the alien weed. Alien weed is another important aspect. Then we'll see the next one, that is in association. We called it as an association. So root parasites and stem parasites are there. So you might be knowing the stem parasite, partial and complete stem parasite. So these four are very important one. That is what you called it as a Loranthus on mango, partial stem parasite. Then complete stem parasite, it is a Cuscuta. It is a Cuscuta. Then partial root parasite, that is a Orobranchi, and complete is a Striga. Like that way, the four are there, and you have to see accordingly. It's a very important one. Then we'll go towards the control measures. So in case of control measure, there are various methods of weed control. There are various methods of weed control. Cultural method is there. In case of cultural method, the most important one, that is a stem seed bed. That is the most important one, stem seed bed. Stem seed bed means what you have to do. Many times this question is on stem seed bed. Stem seed bed means you have to irrigate the field, let the weed grow, and you have to control it either by herbicide application or by using some cultural method. You can control the weeds. It is called as stem seed bed. It is called as stem seed bed. So it is a cultural one. This is the most important method. Then field sanitation is another cultural method. That is, you have to field very clean. Then irrigation, drainage management, fertilizer management, cropping system management is there. In this way, you can control the weeds by using cultural method. Then physical method of weed control is there. Physical method is there. Student, up till now, if you have any difficulty, you can ask me. Konal के problem है का?
No, sir.
असेल तर सांगा नाळे. काही प्रॉब्लेम असेल, समजत नसेल तर सांगा. So in case of physical method, hand weeding is there. Okay. So try to remind these methods which is under cultural method, which is under physical. Physical method means physical force, either manual, animal, or any machinery is used to pull out or kill the weeds. It is called as physical method of weed control. So in case of physical method, you have to either manual, animal, or mechanical power is used. So hand weeding, manpower is used. Hand hoeing is there. It is also mechanical method. Digging is there. Means in case of digging, some perennial weeds are there. You have to dig it out. Then mowing. This is another most important one. Mowing means you might be knowing. In case of horticulture, you might be seen the lawn mower. You might be seen the lawn mower. So lawn mower cuts the lawn. Lawn mower cuts the lawn at the grass means just a tip of the weed it has been cut. So lawn mower. So it will not uproot the weed or it will not total destroy the weed. It is just the cutting of the weed is there. So mowing is another important one. Then cutting is there. There are some aquatic weeds. There are some aquatic weeds like water hyacinth, typha, hydrilla. For control of such a weed, what you have to do? You have to use the method that is dredging and chaining. In case of this method, removing the weeds along with their roots and rhizome with the help of mechanical force. It is called as dredging. And in case of chaining, the floating aquatic weeds, जैसे कि water hyacinth होता है, पानी के ऊपर floating है, removed by chaining. A very heavy chain is pulled out over the water bodies to collect the weeds so that you can collect the weeds like that way. That is dredging and chaining. Then burning and flaming. This is for higher or noxious weeds. Noxious weeds means the weeds which are very difficult to control. The weeds which are very difficult to control, they are called as noxious weeds. The weeds which are having thorns or some spine, in such a cases, you have to use the method that is burning or flaming method. Burning or flaming method is used. Then next one, that is mulching. Mulching is another very important method. In case of mulching, you must think over the soil solarization. This is another important term. Many times the question that is on soil solarization. Soil solarization means what you have to do? You have to spread the polythene mulch. Polythene mulch आपको जमीन के ऊपर spread करना है और उसी spread करने के बाद में it will helps to increase the temperature of the soil. It will helps to increase the temperature of the soil. As temperature increases, the weed which is germinated, it will get burned or died. And slowly you can control. Means you have to solarize the complete soil. It is called as soil solarization. So this is another important method of weed control, that is soil solarization. So up till now you have seen the important terminology, that is a stale seed bed and soil solarization. These are the two important terminologies we have seen. Then next one, that is a chemical method of weed control. Okay, so chemical method, it is a means you have to use the herbicides. You have to use the chemical for control of weed. You have to use the chemical for control of weed. It is known as chemical method of weed control. So the chemical which is used to control the target plants or weeds, it is called as herbicide. Understand? Chemical used to kill target plants or weed, it is called as herbicides. So there are various types of herbicides. You might be learn about the 2,4-D, atrazine, fluchlorelin, glyphosate, like that way. Firstly, we'll see its a classification. We'll see its a classification in very short way. Then we'll see the its a types. If you see the it's a types, it's a selective herbicide, non-selective herbicide. Okay, selective herbicides, non-selective herbicides, foliage applied herbicides, and soil applied herbicides. So if you see the first one, pre-plant incorporation. Pre-plant incorporation means before the sowing. Before the sowing, crop sowing करने से पहले 8 to 10 days you are controlling the weeds. It is called as pre-plant herbicide. Then pre-emergence herbicide. Pre-emergence herbicide means you have to sow the crop, irrigate it, and apply the herbicide. Understand? Then before the emergence of crop and weed, the herbicide is applied. It is called as pre-emergence. It is called as pre-emergence. Many times the question is asked on pre-emergence herbicide. So pre-emergence का concept समझ में आया क्या? It's very simple. That is, आप लोगों को क्या करना है कि before the emergence of weed and crop, दोनों का emergence नहीं हुआ है, उससे पहले herbicide फील्ड में अप्लाई करना है, लेकिन सोइंग हो गया है दोनों का. इट इज कॉल्ड एज प्री इमर्जेंस हर्बिसाइड. इट इज कॉल्ड एज प्री इमर्जेंस हर्बिसाइड. एंड पोस्ट इमर्जेंस हर्बिसाइड मीन्स when crop as well as weed is there, you have to apply the herbicide. It is called as post emergence herbicide. So this is the basic pre-plant, pre-emergence and post-emergence. So there are three types of selective time of application. Now we can see there are another category, selective herbicide and non-selective herbicide. Selective herbicide means the herbicide which kills the target plants. The herbicide which kills the target plant. जैसे कि 2,4-D है. Okay, we are using 2,4-D in any monocot crop, sugar cane, then your what you say, that is maize. You can use the even in jawar you can use the 2,4-D. So it's a selectivity for monocot crop. Understand? It will kill only the weeds, not crop. So like that way, this is very important aspect, that is use of selectivity. That is, selective herbicide means herbicide which kills the target plant, which kills the target plant, and non-selective herbicide which will kill all the vegetation. ये सबको मार देता है, just like Terminator. Whatever the things comes in contact with it, it will kill all the vegetation. ये पूरे vegetation को kill कर देता है. So this is the problem with non-selective herbicide. If non-selective herbicide is wrongly applied on a main crop, it will destroy the main crop. So you should take the precaution that while applying herbicides, you should not kill the main crop. So selectivity is very important. So this is the main problem for use of herbicides. Even if you use the non-selective herbicide used pump, if it is used for later on after 2 or 3 days, if it not washed properly, and if you spray some insecticide or pesticide, it will kill the vegetation. So they are very strong one. So selective and non-selective herbicides. So in case of non-selective herbicide, the most popular herbicide is glyphosate. Understand? So we called it as a Roundup. Trade name is glyphosate. Like that way, it's the most popular one. Then next one classification is contact herbicide and translocated herbicide. Contact herbicide and translocated herbicide. So contact herbicides means the herbicide which comes in contact with the main crop, it will die. It is called as contact herbicide. And translocated herbicide means you have to spray the herbicide onto the foliage and it will be absorbed by some stomatas or hedathodes. The plant absorbs that herbicide, enter into the body of the plants, and it will have the different actions, different mode of action. Just it inhibits the respiration, it inhibits the biosynthesis, inhibits the electron transfer system, then inhibit photosynthesis. Like that way, it inhibits the vitamin synthesis, lipid synthesis, protein synthesis, cell division. Everything will be disturbed and plant gets died. Understand? So जब भी आप नॉन सिलेक्टिव हर्बिसाइड यूज करते हो तो ये हर कोई प्लांट उसके कांटेक्ट में आता है उसको मार देता है. अंडरस्टैंड? So it doesn't see whether this is my friend or वो हमको इसको मारना नहीं है. It will not think like that. It will kill all the vegetation. And the best example is the glyphosate is the best example of that non-selective herbicide. Then we are applying herbicides on soil surface application. Soil ये तो foliage का हो गया. अभी soil में देखेंगे तो soil surface application, soil incorporation, subsoil application. In this way we are applying the herbicides into the soil. Then in case of foliar application method, we are using the blanket application. It is application of herbicide over the entire area. Means you have to apply the herbicide throughout the area. Means whatever the area is there, just like हम लोग जैसे cold होता है तो पूरा blanket cover कर लेते हैं body के ऊपर. Means we are completely covering the area. Just same is there. That is application of herbicide over the entire leaf area. So whatever the leaf area is there, we have to apply uniformly. Here only selective herbicides are applied by this method. Selective herbicides, they are applied through the blanket application. Then next one, that is directed application. Directed spray, or it is called as directed application. Application of herbicide in between the crop rows, directed towards the weed, is known as directed spray. Means जैसे कि crop की दो लाइन है, उसके बीच में हम लोगों को herbicide apply करना है. So we can call it, that method is called as directed application. Care is taken to avoid the spray fluid falling on the crop. Okay, जैसे कि cotton में, what we did in cotton, 2,4-D applied, but it is a directed spray. We are using the hood and only in between the two rows, because initially cotton crop is having a very slow growth. And another important thing, it is a we don't have the that much initial selectivity. That's why we are using this type of crop, the herbicide. Then spot application, herbicide solution is poured onto the weed in a cropped area, non-crop fields infested with obnoxious weed. So patches, जैसे कि छोटे-छोटे patches है, on that patches, if weed is there, only in that patch you have to apply the herbicide. Only the patches. So patch application is known as spot application. Then basal application is there. Here, bushes, weed, unwanted trees are treated with herbicide by different method. Okay, so here we are using for the trunk or bark, such a type of application is there. So these are type of application. Now we'll see the different herbicides. In herbicides, the most important one, that is an active ingredient, AI, active ingredient. Try to understand what you mean by active ingredient. Active ingredient means it is an actual toxic chemical present in the herbicide. It is known as active ingredient. Students, आतापर्यंत शिकवल्या याच्यात काही डिफिकल्टी आहे का? If you have difficulty, you can ask me. Prathamesh, Rohan Patil, Yash Patil is there. Anyone? Any difficulty का?
Reply students. ऋतुजा इंगळे आहेत का प्रेझेंट?
Yes, sir.
रिप्लाय द्या सरांना काय.
डिफिकल्टीज आहेत का काही?
No, sir.
असं कसं काहीतरी डिफिकल्टी आलीच पाहिजे ना. काहीतरी तर इन बिटवीन इंटरॅक्शन काहीतरी तर तुम्हाला विचारलंच गेलं पाहिजे ना. हे तर मी नुसतं बडबड करायची आणि तुम्ही ऐकायचं. इट इज नॉट लाईक दॅट वे. यू शुड आस्क द क्वेश्चन्स. Okay, anyway. So the most important concept, that is a active ingredient. Many times in examination, there will be question on how much quantity of herbicide should be applied. How much quantity of herbicide should be applied onto the field? Particular area is given. 1 hectare. For 1 hectare, how much quantity of herbicide is needed? So you have to calculate accordingly. So they have given the recommended dose. Just we have see the atrazine. If atrazine have 50%, means it is having a 50% active ingredient. You can see any one glyphosate. You can see the 41% SL, means a soluble liquid. 41% soluble liquid means 41% is only the toxic chemical present, means active ingredient present in that glyphosate is only 41%. Remaining amount 59% is something different. Understand? It might be sticker, stabilizer, neutralizer, another way. There are some adjuvants added. Understand? We'll later on see that what do you mean by adjuvants, but another things are there. So active ingredient is one of the very important terminology. That is, active ingredient means actual toxic chemical present. जो poisonous chemical है कितने परसेंट में available है, it is called as active ingredient. So active ingredient, the commercial product कैसे calculate करते हैं? So recommended dose divided by active ingredient multiplied by 100. So that you will get how much quantity of actual commercial जो बाजार में मिलता है वो कितना यूज करना है. वो कैसे करना है कि recommended dose तो दिया हुआ रहता है, active ingredient से उसको डिवाइड करना है, डिवाइड करना है और आपको 100 से मल्टीप्लाई करना, so that you will get the actual commercial product of that particular one. इसी से आपको मिल जाएगा. Another important thing that is we have discussed, that is a adjuvants. Adjuvants means these are the chemical which is not directly related with the control of weed, or which is not directly related, but it helps in various ways. It helps in various ways. Means they are the surfactant, they are the spreaders, they are the stickers. Understand? They are the stabilizers. Like that way, they are controlling the weeds. Not for helps to control the weeds and helps to increase the efficiency of weeds. So efficiency of weeds can be improved. Efficiency of the herbicide can be improved by various adjuvants. Then the next important one, that is the biological method of weed control. Next one, that is the biological method of weed control. In case of biological method, you have to use the various bioagents. Means it is a eco-friendly, and non-deteriorating the environmental method of weed control, and it's very important. So biological method of weed control. Here some bioagents they are used to control the weed. Understand, bioagents used to control the weeds. So the important bioagents, they are the first one, that is the insect. First one, that is the insects. So insects are there. First insect, that is to control the parthenium. Many times in examination this question it is there, that is which insect is used to control the parthenium hysterophorus. So for this, that is Zygogramma bicolorata. It is also known as Mexican beetle. So many times this both the options are means either or. Mexican beetle will be there or Zygogramma bicolorata. Try to understand. Zygogramma bicolorata is बहुत important है. Many times this question it has been asked in examination. For biological control of Parthenium hysterophorus, which insect is helpful? That is Zygogramma bicolorata. Then some another insects are there. Lantana camera means we call as a ghaneri. It's a very noxious weed. Here you can see the prickly pear is another one. Like that way, various bioagents are there for controlling this. Flea beetle is for this aquatic weed is there. So we insects they helps to control the weed. But the problem with the insect weed control, that is after feeding on weed, they may be able to shift on another crop. So this is the disadvantage with this insect used for weed control in case of biological weed control. Another aspect for insect, that if I purchase for my field and it will be after finishing parthenium, it will go into the neighboring field. After that, it will be go in another field. So next time it will not helpful for me. So this is the major disadvantages with this insect control of biological. Then next, some fishes are useful for aquatic weed. Common carp is used for aquatic weed. Some mammals are there. And then snails are there for snails. Marisa species is there for some aquatic weed is there. Then another one, mites are there. Spider mite, Tetranacea species for control of opuntia. Prickly pear, we called it as opuntia. So opuntia is controlled with the help of spider mite. Tetranacea species are there. Then another important term, that is smother crop. That is plant itself control the weeds. Means smothering effect. Smothering effect, it is also in a cultural one. And another thing, that is smothering means these are the crops which are very fast growing. The fast growing crops which cover the entire land and suppress the growth of weed. मीन्स ये बहुत ही फास्ट ग्रोइंग क्रॉप्स है और ये पूरी जो लैंड है उसको कवर कर देते हैं. मीन्स इट विल हैव द फुल कवर ओवर द लैंड एंड it is suppress the growth of weed. It is called as smothering crop. So this is the most important term. Many times smothering effect is, it has been asked in examination. So smothering means it is a fast growing one crop and which covers the land surface and suppress the growth of weed. Example, best example, that is kidney bean, matki, Phaseolus acontifolius. Then next one, that is a Hulga, Dolichus biflorus. Then soybean is there, green gram is there, cowpea is there. So whatever the legumes are there, which are spreading type and fast growing, which suppresses the growth of weed, and it is called as smothering crop. It is called as smothering crop. Then in case of biological method of weed control, another important aspect, that is in JRF examination, definitely question on this aspect. definitely question on the aspect of bioherbicides. It's very important bioherbicides. They are called as mycoherbicides. Bioherbicides, they are called as mycoherbicides. So fungal suspension, fungal suspension, just like our croplands, there are fusarium is there on cotton, then on tur, okay, pigeon pea, you'll find fusarium wilt is there. Then some anthracnose is there, some powdery mildew, downy mildew, dieback, such a type of fungus and bacteria, they are isolated, and they isolated things, they are grown into the lab. Scientifically, it has been prepared, and they are called as mycoherbicides. So the concept is very popular in foreign countries, but in case of India, till it is not popular in India. We are at the very initial stage of mycoherbicides. So this is very important terminology. आप सबको ये ध्यान में रखना है. Mycoherbicides JRF SRF examination में definitely there will be question on mycoherbicides. So mycoherbicides, they are the fungal suspensions or bacterial suspension. That suspension causes diseases and weed get killed. वीड के ऊपर वो डिसीज करता है, अंडरस्टैंड, उसको डिसीज, उसको सिक करता है और उसके बाद में उसका डेथ हो जाता है वीड का. तो लाइक दैट वे इट इज कॉल्ड एज माइको herbicides, and the concept of myco herbicides is very popular one, and it's very good and eco friendly is there for myco herbicides. Then next one, that is the integrated weed management. This is the another important aspect, integrated weed management. So for integrated weed management, use of all the methods, use of all the possible methods, use of all the possible methods to control the weed. Try to understand, हम लोगों को सिर्फ केमिकल पे ऊपर नहीं जाना है, क्योंकि केमिकल इट इज अ इन्वायरमेंटल डिटोरेटिंग सिस्टम, but as and when needed we have to use the chemical method. Otherwise, you better way to have the first step, that is preventive method. First step is prevention. We always say prevention is always better than cure. So preventive measure is the most important one. So for preventive measure, what we are doing for preventive measure, use of clean seed, use of properly before coming to the flowering of any weed, you have to control it. At the initial stage, weed should be controlled. Use of well rotten compost, क्योंकि compost में से ही major weed seed disseminate होते हैं. Like that way, field sanitation, clean cultivation, these are the preventive measures. You have to use the implements. Before using implement, it should be clean one. So you have to think over it. That is, prevention is always better than cure. Then you have to apply some cultural one or two cultural method, intercropping, sowing time, adjustment, fertilizer application, management of irrigation. Then you have to go for cultural method, some hoeing, hand weeding, hoeing, physical method, hand weeding, hoeing, like that way. And lastly, you should go for herbicide application, because it is a somewhat costlier, it is somewhat risky one, but people are getting acquainted, and now it's a boon for farmers to have the very good molecules. You might be not knowing that some herbicides only 2 to 3 grams they are needed. So metsulfuron, methina, and sulfosulfuron, these are very good molecules, and they give very good results. Okay, so like that way, this is all about the weed management. Very concisely I have completed the things, because 16 lectures are there, and in that 16 lectures, just I have to make the very concisely these things I have to explain you. If you have any difficulties, you can ask me. Malay sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, is there any difficulty? Students? आहे का कोणाला काही डिफिकल्टी?
कधीच नसते म्हणा आम्हाला डिफिकल्ट.
नांद्रे सर जॉईन झालेत का? हॅलो.
5 मिनिटं.
ओके. आहे का कोणाला काही डिफिकल्टी विचारून घ्या सरांना. Other than
कुठले
weed
वीड
management.
मॅनेजमेंटच नाही, ॲग्रोनॉमीची कुठली डिफिकल्टी असेल तरी विचारा.
जाधव जयकुमार.
Hello, sir.
हॅलो.
Good morning, sir.
difficulty
Yes.
असतील.
व्हेरी गुड मॉर्निंग.
Sir, which method is effective on the highly spreading weeds?
Highly
Spreading weeds, such like Parthenium,
Yeah. So
Datura.
first, very good. Firstly, we have to control it before it's flowering, because it has been says that 1 year seeding, 7 years weeding. ऐसे कहा जाता है कि 1 साल सीडिंग हुआ तो 7 years weeding करना पड़ता है. So before seeding, you have to control the weeds, and it's a seamless process. So every year you have to do the same thing. Later on, you have to control it by glyphosate. Glyphosate is the most effective against that particular weed. But firstly, you have to control it before it's flowering. So that's the most important thing. क्योंकि seed may remain viable up to 50 years, 50, 60 years it remain viable into the soil, and as and when it comes up, it will again germinate and gives the flushes. That's why we have to control it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more?
Any more questions?
Actually, students, I never like such a type of lecture that I am talking and you are just listening. There must be the interactive type of thing should be there. You must ask n number of questions so that lot of things get cleared. Because these concepts are very important. Stealth seedbed, pre-emergence, alien weed, allelopathy. These are the very important terminologies. And many examinations, even in agriculture MPSC, even your CET or JRF, SRF examination, these questions are there, mycoherbicides. So these are very important topics.
तर माझा एक क्वेश्चन आहे.
Yes, sir.
एलियन वीड हा कॉन्सेप्ट काय आहे जरा क्लिअरली सांगितलं बरोबर.
सर मी ऍक्च्युली लेक्चर मध्ये शिकवतो. जस्ट लाईक कोई मिल गया पिक्चर होता बघा.
हो हो हो.
हा, त्याच्यावर तो जादू होता. तो जादू एलियन होता. तो पृथ्वीवरचा नव्हता. तो परदेशात म्हणजे दुसऱ्या ग्रहावरून आला होता. ओके. Just like that, there are some Indian weeds are there. Tandulja, Kunzru, Mat. These are our native one. And alien weed means which is introduced from outside, just like Parthenium. At the time of 71 starvation, drought, we have imported the Milo.
एक्झॉटिक वीड.
Exotic weed. आपण तिकडनं आणलं आणि ते इथं वाढलं. Lantana camera, Ghaneri, Tantani, exotic. So it is called as alien weed.
ओके ओके. अजून कोणाला काही क्वेश्चन आहेत का?
Sir, what is the main concept behind the soil solarization? Soil solarization.
Yes, soil solarization, it means you have to increase the heat. You have to increase the temperature. Means every crop is having TDP. TDP means thermal dead point. Thermal dead point is 50 डिग्री सेल्सियस. So 50 के ऊपर हो गया टेम्परेचर, सॉइल का टेम्परेचर भी बढ़ गया, so it will get killed. Understand? And what we are doing in soil solarization, we are increasing the temperature of the soil by covering it with the पॉलीथीन. जैसे कि पॉलीथीन होने कवर हो जाने के बाद में उसके अंदर का टेम्परेचर जो हीट ट्रैपिंग रहता है, व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट बिहाइंड द ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट. द सेम थिंग इज हियर. द सन रेडिएशन इज टैप्ड इनसाइड. ट्रैपिंग हो जाने के बाद में अंदर का टेम्परेचर बढ़ जाता है. तो 5 to 10 डिग्री से टेम्परेचर बढ़ने का, बाहर यदि 30 हुआ तो इसके अंदर 40 हो जाएगा. सो दैट वॉट एवर द वीड्स आर देयर दे गेट किल्ड बिकॉज ऑफ हाई टेम्परेचर. So soil solarization is there. Yes, any more questions? Smaller crop is another important concept. वो तो पता चल गया होगा आपको. Active ingredient, some calculations on active ingredient. Even in many examination, this question on calculate the herbicide dose. It's very simple. Recommended dose divided by active ingredient multiplied by 100.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you for giving the time to as an expert. Sir, one question is in chat
How
box.
differentiate between mimicry weed and crop? Yes, it's very difficult to control. मैंने कहा था ना, they are morphologically similar but physiologically different one. Initially we can't differentiate that weed, but if you apply 2,4-D, it will kill the wild oat. It will kill the wild oat, but it will not kill the wheat crop. That's why mimicry means it is resembling same. जैसे कि कोई बच्चन का डुप्लीकेट आवाज, बच्चन का डुप्लीकेट है, शाहरुख का डुप्लीकेट है, वो दिखते सेम है लेकिन वो नहीं है. तो जब टाइम आता है तो डिफरेंशिएट हो जाता है दोनों में. सो लाइक दैट वे mimicry means somebody is acting like a main one, but it is not like that way. So mimicry weed is a different one. Okay, so it is controlled by, जैसे आप herbicide apply करोगे तो ये कंट्रोल हो जाएगा, but by visual observation it's very difficult to differentiate. हम लोग इसीलिए कहते हैं ना कि mimicry weed identify कर ही नहीं सकते initial stage में. Later on at the time of flowering and fruiting you can differentiate. उसका वोट का डिफरेंट रहता है दिखाई देने में, लेकिन तब तक वो बड़ा हो चुका होता है. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंट्रोल. दैट्स व्हाई इनिशियली इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, the next question is there.
Concept of stale seedbed.
Stale seedbed, yes, yeah, it's very important question. Stale seedbed is very important. Very simply I will explain it. जैसे कि एक प्लॉट है, उस प्लॉट में बहुत ज्यादा वीड है, तो आप लोगों को क्या करना है, उसमें इरिगेट करना है. यू हैव टू इरिगेट इट. यू हैव टू इरिगेट इट. एज एंड व्हेन इरिगेशन इज देयर, देयर विल बी फर्स्ट फ्लश कम्स. वीड उगून येणार. ओके, यू हैव टू कंट्रोल इट विथ द हेल्प ऑफ either directly plowing or herbicide application. Then again you have to go for irrigation. परत एकदा irrigation करायचं. Again flushes will come and you have to control 3 to 4 flushes. After 3 to 4 flushes you will reduce the population of weed in that particular plot. It is called as stale seedbed. That concept is stale seedbed. 3-4 flushes, 3 to 4 flushes of weeds, they are let to be the grown and destroyed, so that its a population of the weed is reduced. समजलं का? पाणी द्यायचं, गवत उगून द्यायचं, येऊ द्यायचं, परत त्याला हर्बिसाइड मारून कंट्रोल करायचं, परत पाणी द्यायचं, परत वाढू द्यायचं, परत नांगर टाकायचं, परत पाणी. कारण त्या एरियामध्ये खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणामध्ये गवत वाढलेलं असतं, कंट्रोल होत नाही. तर तशा वेळेला आपण ही स्टेल सीडबेड कॉन्सेप्ट वापरतो. जसं गार्डन मध्ये लॉन आहे आणि लॉन मध्ये जर दुसरे वीड्स आलेले, तर इट्स व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंट्रोल. मग अशा वेळेला आपण लॉन ते डिस्ट्रॉय करतो आणि ती सॉइल पूर्णपणे फ्री ऑफ वीड्स करतो. अशा ठिकाणी आपल्याला स्टेल सीडबेडचा उपयोग होतो. येस, एनी मोर क्वेश्चन्स? अजून काही क्वेश्चन असेल तर विचारा.
Okay, sir. No questions, I think. Dr. Nandre sir joined now.
Sir, and I'm extremely sorry for not having the camera, also not having the PPTs, because I thought just interactive type of session will be there, and today
Yes,
it's
sir. You know,
Saturday, so
every time
camera,
you always take the interactive sessions.
yeah,
This
I always
time,
prefer.
somewhat reply from student side, I heard that. So thank you, sir, for
Thank you,
giving
sir.
the
Yes,
time
yes.
to our students and to us for the guideline for JRF preparation. I'm very thankful on behalf of College of Agriculture, Dhule. Thank you, sir. So I'm
Sir, good
welcome
morning.
to
Sir, good morning.
Nandre, sir.
Good morning, Nandre sir. Good morning.
I'm welcome to Dr. Nandre, sir. Very good morning, sir. So, Dr. Nandre, sir, now working as a senior scientist and head Krishi Vigyan Kendra Dhule, and he has experience about the vegetable production. So, I am requesting to Dr. Nandre, sir, please give the guideline to our student regarding the production technology of warm season vegetables. So, please, sir. Andre, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग. आवाज येतोय सर?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. आवाज येतोय तुमचा.
गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल फॉर दिस interactive session. Earlier speaker, respected Dr. Arundar sir, as well as Dr. Male sir, and all my dear friends for this JRF lecture. आवाज येतोय का सर?
हो सर आवाज येतोय तुमचा आवाज येतोय.
For this lecture, our topic is warm season vegetable crops. Then, what is mean by warm season vegetable crops? Means we have, sir, मी एक स्क्रीन शेअर करतो, मराठीत आहे, फक्त होतंय का बघा फक्त.
हो सर हो सर.
दिसतंय का सर?
Yes sir. Yes sir. Sharing. Yes. दिसतंय सर दिसतंय.
येतंय सर?
फक्त सर त्याला तुम्ही आता पीपीटी स्लाइड शो ऑन केला असेल ना तर ते
हा.
पॉज झालं कदाचित तुमच्याकडून.
असं आहे का?
हा तर त्याला फक्त एकदा स्टॉप शेअरिंग करून आहे ना पुन्हा शेअर करताना जे याच्यात केलं असेल ना तुम्ही आता स्लाइड शो मोड मधली जी विंडो असेल ना ती सिलेक्ट करा फक्त शेअरिंग.
आता दिसत नाही का?
नाही ते मूव नाही होते.
असं आहे का?
हो
स्टॉप शेअरिंग
स्लाइड शो
करू.
मोड नाही दिसत आहे आम्हाला.
एक मिनिट. न्यू शेअर म्हणताय ते. आधी कोणाचं आहे का ते शेअर केलेलं?
तुमचंच आहे ना सर स्टॉप शेअरिंग करा ना. तुमची स्क्रीन दिसते आम्हाला कॉम्प्युटरची म्हणजे याची पॉवर पॉईंटची जी विंडो आहे ना ती दिसते. तुम्ही जो स्लाइड शो चालू केलाय तो नाही दिसत आहे.
असं आहे का? एक मिनिट. आता सर
ओके,
Hello?
तुमची कॉम्प्युटरची स्क्रीन दिसते सर याची पॉवर पॉइंटची स्लाइड शो चालू केला का तुम्ही?
आता हॅलो
स्लाइड शो नाही दिसत आहे सर तुमचा, स्लाइड मूव्ह नाही होते.
इथं तर होतंय माझ्याकडनं.
हा मग मी काय म्हणतो सर,
2 मिनिट.
आता पुन्हा एकदा स्टॉप शेअरिंग केलं ना तुम्ही, पुन्हा शेअर म्हणा त्याला. Hello, sir.
शेअर स्क्रीन. हा
हा तिथं विंडो आल्या असतील ना, त्याच्यात जो पॉवर पॉइंट स्लाइड शो मोड चालू झालेला आहे ना, ती विंडो सिलेक्ट करा सर शेअरिंगला.
तीच केली होती सर मी.
2 विंडो दिसत असतील तुम्हाला
हा 2
त्याच्यात. ओके सर, ओके सर, ओके सर. यस यस यस, आता दिसते सर, आता दिसते.
होते.
हो हो,
1 मिनिट मूव होते का बघतो.
क्लिक करा फक्त मदतीला एकदा.
होते आता सर.
हो हो हो, होते सर, होते.
So good morning to all. Warm season vegetable crops. What is mean by warm season vegetable crops? Simply those crops we have grown after this winter season, means need required minimum 8 hours of sunlight. It requires minimum 8 hours of sunlight for its normal growth. Means if they have got more than that, then definitely yield of that particular crop is affected. For that purpose, what are the different main warm season vegetable crops we are cultivated in most of the times. When we are thinking about that this warm season vegetable crops, tomato is the main vegetable crops. No doubt it is grown in the year round. Year round we have grown this tomato. In that brinjal, then chili, then all the cucurbitaceous crops, then watermelon and muskmelon. These are the main vegetable crops we have mainly grown in the warm season, or that is simply that is in summer season vegetable crops. Then what are the different points we have to be considered for that warm when we have to be grown warm season vegetable crops? Then what is the exact photo period, or earlier we have said that what is the sunlight duration is required for that flowering and fruiting of that particular crops? Then what are the climatic situations, or what are the climatic parameters required for growing of these vegetable crops? Then what are the different nutrient requirements, means what is the adverse or beneficial effect of nutrients when we have to be grown in that of these vegetable crops in warm season or simply in summer season vegetable crops? Then what are the different duration of this plantation or the sowing dates of particular or transplanting dates of particular vegetable crops? And what are the methodologies we have to be utilized for increasing the flowering and fruiting in vegetable crops, mainly that growth utilization of the growth regulators, then planting methods, or the different planting package of practices? And what are the main that nutrient management and water management of particular crops? And lastly, mainly that what are the main biotic and abiotic factors which is mainly affected on the yield contribution of this particular warm season vegetable crops. This is the biology of particular flower. Then what is the exact climatic situation or the climatic parameters required for the growth of warm season vegetable crops? Mainly earlier we have seen that minimum 8 hours are required for their normal growth, and above that, definitely there is an increase or enhancement in the yield of that particular all the vegetable, particularly cucurbitaceous crops is mainly that is sensitive to these crops. If the temperature goes below near about 35 degrees Celsius, then definitely the yield of that particular crops, mainly cucurbit crops, are affected. For that purpose, normal temperature or the normal range of parameter temperature is equal to 28 to 38 degrees Celsius for flowering and fruiting. Again, for that purpose, if the temperature of night temperature is goes below 20, means near 24 or in a range between 20 to 24, and definitely that affects on the flowering of particular cucurbitaceous crops. Then okra, again leading summer crops, or that is warm season crops. Then for that purpose, if the temperature range means the temperature down, then mainly affect on the hello, someone else, the mainly which affect on the pollination and formation, flower and fruit, flower initiation and fruit formation. Again, as far as the humidity is concerned, dry climate is mostly suitable, but that is hot and dry climate, means hot and dry climate is most suitable. For that purpose, near about 45 degrees, 45 to 70% humidity is required for the normal growth of that particular crops. Again, that if there is again a dry climate percentage is increase, means humidity is decreased, then definitely the drying of that particular pollens may be happened, or they have affect on the pollination and fertilization of that particular flowering plant. Then again, these are the parameters that a degree Celsius is required. What are the adverse effect on the difference, that is evaporation affects on that particular, obviously the temperature is increase, the evaporation rate of that particular is increase. For that purpose, we need to maintain the water balance, or the whatever the frequency of that particular water, we need to be balanced in that particular cultivation practices. Again, what happened, evaporation is increased, the that requirement of water is again increase. For that purpose, for maximum or for normal growth of that particular crops, we need to be maintain the level of water at the root zone of particular crops. This is the normal range of temperature is required for the warm or the summer season vegetable crops. Again, it is different for tomato, brinjal, then chili. There is a mentioned that near about 15 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature is required for tomato. But most of the varieties, or most of the that cultivar has susceptible up to above that particular 38 degrees Celsius. Then again, this is the normal range of temperature. Mostly we have seen in the cucurbits vegetable crops near about 35 degrees Celsius up to 35 or 38 degrees Celsius. There is an optimum or the normal temperature for growth of that particular, means flowering, initiation of flowering, then fruit set, and normal growth of that particular fruits in the cucurbits crops. And the cucumber is the most susceptible crop for change in the climatic condition, or mainly the parameters in the temperature and light. Mainly the temperature of night temperature is low and day temperature is high. If that happens in the month of March, it may affect on the fruit, then that is flower and retention of fruits, means conversion of flower to fruit. Again, the main vegetable crops that are grown in all Maharashtra or in all over India, that is the watermelon and muskmelon. Mostly the watermelon is mainly for the summer crops. No doubt it is grown now in Kharif also, but the main season of watermelon is summer. Then what is the effect on effect of temperature on uptake of that particular particular nutrients on particular that vegetable crops which is grown in the summer season. दिसतंय का सर? हॅलो,
हो सर स्क्रीन विजिबल आहे तुमची, आवाज
माझ्या इथं
येतोय.
स्टॉप झालं ते.
नाही, दिसतंय.
एक मिनिट. Then what is the main effect on the nitrogen? This is the main component or the nutrient for growth of the particular crop. Then if the temperature increase, means which is suitable for the cultivation of these crops. These are the effects, means these are the main parameters which is enhanced or which is affected by the different nutrients in the increasing trend of nutrient. That is for no doubt for nitrogen. This is for chlorophyll content, then amino acids, then for cell division, then elongation of cell, then uptake of the nutrients, then availability of micronutrients. These are the main functions or the main role of nutrient in the in the increase in the temperature. Again for phosphorus and potash, then phosphorus is again useful for the energy transmission, then again availability of the nutrients, then that all the food material accumulation of the food material required for the growth of that particular plants. Then again for potash, then stomata mainly functioning on the stomata opening and closing, then again energy generation, then flower initiation, then that is sugar content accumulation of. सर पुढे सर, हॅलो,
हा सर,
हे पुढे जा. हा गेले ठीक, आलं का?
हो सर.
Again these are the main roles or the functions of that which is affected by functions of different micronutrients in the temperature. And this is the micronutrient which is prepared by, or which is the combination of micronutrients which is prepared by our university, and we have recommended to the farmers, or we have recommended for growth and increase in the yield of their particular crops. We have recommended two sprayings or two stages at two different stages. That is at the time of vegetative growth, and at the time the second spraying is at the time of flowering and fruiting. Means we have increased the concentration from 50 milli to 100 milli at the time of that from vegetative growth to flowering and fruiting. Then these are the factors, or these are the means we have to, what are the different technologies we have to utilize for the increase in the flowering and fruiting, ultimately the yield of that particular warm season vegetable crops. In general and in particular in cucurbitaceous crops, we have mainly concentrated on the, that is male and female flower on that particular vine. For that purpose, we need to be artificially utilized, or we need to be utilize different plant growth regulators, or that is plant hormones for increasing female flower, ultimately the yield of that particular vine or their cucurbitaceous crop. In that case, we have to be utilize that plant growth regulators. We have sprayed at two different stages. That first as two leaf stage and second at after 20 to 30 days of first spray. In that cucumber, we have utilized GA3 or ethyl for that increasing the flower set, then retention of flower, and then again conversion of flower to fruit for increasing in cucurbit crops. Again, in bottle gourd, naphtholic acetic acid, and again in bitter gourd, we have utilized naphtholic acetic acid for increasing the male flower percentage, and again for convergence or the retention of that particular fruit. Then what are the different methodology, or what are the different types of sowing or preparation of seedlings of different vegetable crops? Means for most of the crops, that is in okra need to be, we have to be planted in the month of January. Means we need to develop the seed in the month of January. Again, for that cucurbitaceous crops, we need to be wait for increase in the temperature in the environment. Means during current season, from last near about 15 February, from up to that period, there is a cold climate in our region, or all over in Maharashtra or in India. But after that, there is a sudden increase in the temperature. At that time, we need to be initiated, we need to be develop the seed of cucurbitaceous vegetable crops. Means if the temperature is increase about 33 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Celsius starts, then at that time only we need to be sown that cucurbitaceous vegetable crops. But in case of okra, we can sow this crop in the temperature near about 24 to 28 degrees Celsius during this season. Means after 15 of January, we can start the sowing of that particular tomato, then brinjal, then chili, for preparation of seedlings, tomato, brinjal, chili, and we can develop the seed of okra. But in case of earlier we said, in case of cucurbitaceous vegetable crops, it must be there is a increase in the temperature near about 33 to 35 degrees Celsius temperature. Then this is the main means cultivation practices, or the cultivation requirement for this is the seed rate or the planting method in chili. We have suggested that 1 to 1 and means near about 1000 to 1250 gram. But in case of hybrid varieties, small quantity or little quantity of seed is required. Near about 6 to 8 packets of 10 gram is sufficient for the cultivation of chili for 1 acre area. Then again, this is the planting method. We have recommended this is on the irrigation for us by near about 75 to 60 centimeter of spacing, or again this is depend on the type of soil. In tomato, again there is a requirement of seed for straight varieties 400 gram, and again for hybrid varieties 100 to 200 gram is sufficient for the hybrid varieties. And we have recommended on the irrigation of furrows by taking the distance or by 90 centimeter, 3 feet in the furrow, and near about 1 feet in the plant to plant distance. Again, it is depend on the what type of soil we have. If there is a black cotton or the deep soil, then definitely we can increase the distance or the spacing of that particular crop. Again, as same as in the chili, we can space this crop on the irrigation furrows. These are some uh, photographs of we have planted this crop, chili crop on the irrigation furrows near about 2 by 2 feet by taking the spacing, and this is a medium type of soil. Again, this is plastic. We have to be mulching. We have be sprayed or utilized on these broad bed furrows. For that purpose, near about 3 feet that raised bed we have prepared, and on that we have spread this polythene mulch for better optimization of or reduction of weed, then retention of moisture, then maintenance of that WAPSA condition or optimum moisture in that particular root zone of particular chili crop. Again, increase in the yield, then minimize the requirement of fertilizer, water. For that purpose, we have to utilize this mulching. In most of the cases or in most of the places, increase in the utilization of this mulching paper in cultivation of uh, most of the summer vegetable crops is increased. No doubt, definitely they have utilized in Kharif season also, rainy season also, because polythene mulch or poly mulch having its own advantages regarding weed management, moisture retention, or the optimization of the moisture. For that purpose, in most of the cases, this mulching paper is utilized. Definitely, the yield is increased near about 30 to 35%, and the cost of production again decreased near about 20%. And these are the basic requirements for uh, summer vegetable crops, particularly in tomato. Again, in water cucurbitaceous, all of the cucurbitaceous crops, we need to be stake the crop at the near near about 30 days after transplanting. These are the pictures we have. These pictures at our own field, means in our on our campus. Then we have seen that is the different methodology or different the crops we have to be planting, and we have given irrigation to open or the SARA method. This is in the tribal areas. These are the different methods of staking we need to be practiced in tomato cultivation, because somehow this crop is means we have said that we can say that is why we need to be given support for bearing the load of all the fruits. We have to be means what are the different fruits, quantity of fruits that is written on that particular crops. For that purpose, there are then wire required, then strings required, then bamboo required for low cost. Again, for continuous production or regular production, we need to be angle. We have to be fixed on both the sides of that particular area. For that purpose, this is the way of we have to be stake or we have given support to that particular tomato crop. These are the different methods. We can see clearly seen the method of irrigation in the particular brinjal. Then if we have given irrigation to the to by SARA or open, or we can convert it, we can given or supported with the drip or fertigation technology. We can clearly see the difference of that particular crop. Then what is the different requirement of cucurbitacea vegetable crops? For that purpose, staking, then that particular structure is required for support of most of the cucurbitous crops, mainly bottle gourd can be we can raise, or we can train on that particular trellis, or definitely we can train on itself on the soil also. But we need to be support, or we need to be support of that organic mulch below that particular vine is necessary, because whenever there is a contact of that particular fruit with the ground, means contact of that particular fruit with the ground, there is chances of infection, or there is a chances of that particular redness and then blackness, and then from that uh, contact place there is a this is the open, or this is the way to enter the all the pathogens from that uh, contact site, or again there is a deteriorate. For that purpose there is a deterioration of that particular quality of particular fruits. But in case of cucumber, then bitter gourd, then rich gourd, definitely there is a requirement of that trainees, or we need to be trained either on that particular structures, with the help of angle and wire. Again, then in most of the cases we have trained on the with the support of wall, or with the support of there is a temporary structure with bamboo in that, on that case bamboo, or any type of structure, that is a roof structure uh, we have prepared, or again there is a uh, we need to be trained uh, continuous, or with the frequent interval near about 15 days. We need to be direct that particular end of that, or the terminal end of that particular vine. This is the methodology we can train, or we can raise these crops. Again, this is uh, photographs of our locations. These are the different methodologies of staking. Then this is the uh, requirement means the agronomical practices of particular that watermelon need to be planted on the that adjacent furrows. We need to be spaced near about 2 meter by half meter uh, on the uh, that particular black cotton soil. Again, for in muskmelon, uh, we can reduce the spacing near about 1.5 to 1 meter by 1 meter in the uh, muskmelon side. Again, the seed requirement is near about in watermelon, uh, 2 2 to 3 kg seed is sufficient in watermelon, and near about 1.5 kg seed is required for the muskmelon. But in cases there, again there is hybrid varieties, they have prepared seedlings, and in that cases 800 gram to 1 kg seed is sufficient for watermelon, and near about 600 to 800 gram is sufficient for the muskmelon crop. Means what are the main uh, practices, or what are the practices we need to be incorporated for increase the germination of that particular crops in uh, warm season, or those crops having a hard shell. Means for that purpose we need to be soak the seeds in water near about uh, more than 12 hours, or uh, overnight, or in some of the cases we need to be some hot water treatment also to that particular for germination of crops. Again, we can place this seed in a uh, means we have said that we have placed, or we have kept this in a wait, whatever the that hello. हॅलो,
हो सर, आवाज येतोय तुमचा.
येतोय येतोय ना? माझी तर स्टॉप होतोय ते,
हो,
सरकत नाही पुढे.
स्क्रीन पण दिसते, आवाज पण येतोय.
Means we have to be soaked in that particular uh, uh, seed for enhancing the germination. And again, we have to be treated for most of the wilt, for wilt purpose, we have to be treated with the recommended package of practices with either captain or the carbendazim, or we can also utilize COC for keep this plant free from wilting. These are the means the staking, and we have we grown up this crop on that particular different type of structure. Again, this is the on mulching, we have to be planting that watermelon on the mulching. Then again, the planting methods, single row, double row methods, we have to be utilized. This is the system, or this is a zigzag method of planting. We have to be by taking optimum distance. On that, we can place, or we can double the seed by zigzag method. These are the main means these are the main cultivars or the varieties of different crops. Mainly in Chile, there is that Agni Rekha, Phule Jyoti, Phule Sai. Again, for these are the recommended by our university. But apart from that, in most of the cases, the hybrid varieties are available in the market, like Sitara. Most of the that is farmers have cultivate the Sitara variety, private variety, in most of the areas of Maharashtra, as well as in the Maharashtra in as well as in India. These are the varieties recommended or released from our university. Again, in for brinjal, that is Madrigota, Fuleharit Krishna. Krishna is one of the hybrid recommended by our university. Then Fule Arjun. These are the photographs of our varieties. Again, in brinjal also there are number of private partners who have to be means they have contributed for the variety. In tomato, Fule Raja is one of the leading variety. I mean, this is the recent variety of our university. Can be yield up to near about 50 to 60 ton per hectare, having capacity in the this variety is compete for the all the varieties in the market, that is which is ordered by the private companies. And the Bhagyasri, Dhanasri, and Rajasri are the varieties of different purposes or the different colors. Then for cucurbitaceous, in cucurbitaceous vegetable crops, that is Fule Green Gold. Then in bitter gourd, then Himangi in cucumber, then Samrat in bottle gourd. Then this is the this is the nutrient management of in most of the vegetable crops for summer season crops. This is the conversion of that is means we have recommended dose into the conversion into the urea single superphosphate and muriate of potash. And how we have to be convert or how we have calculated the quantity of urea single superphosphate and muriate of potash from the given dose of our from our recommended dose. Then what are the nutrient requirement of the different vegetable crops? This is for this is for chili, near about 150-50. Again, this nitrogen we can split into two to three times, means at the time of planting and 1 month after planting. Again, in nitrogen, in cases in most of the cases nitrogen, we can split 2 to 3 doses near about 15 days of interval up to 45 days of its after transplanting. Again, in tomato, for straight and hybrid varieties, there are different recommendations from 200, 200, 100 and 100 to 350, 150, 150 kg NPK per hectare. Again, we can split of nitrogen in two to three, that is split split doses near about 15 days of interval. Again, for that purpose, we need to maintain the WAPSA condition, or we need to be balanced, moisture balance in that in soil is necessary. Then and then there is uptake of nutrients, whatever we have to, whatever we have applied different nutrients to that particular crops. We need to be maintain the moisture condition or up to optimum moisture in that particular crops. Again, for brinjal, as same as in the tomato. Then again, for cucurbitaceous vegetables or the trellis vegetables, 150 kg. We have recommended this dose, or these are the recommended dose. We have calculated on the basis of optimum nutrient content, or the whatever the average nutrient content in our soil. For that purpose, it is necessary. We need to be we need to be identify what are the different parameters or the nutrients available in our soil. For that purpose, soil analysis is most important before we have to be nutrient management of particular crops. We have given the recommended doses of particular vegetable crops, though there are soil analysis crops, then cucurbitaceous crops, and whatever the different crops. But we need to be identify, or we need to be calculate the different nutrients which is available in our soil. For that purpose, we need to be given the again we have to be splitted the doses of particular nutrients. No doubt the phosphorus and potash we can give at the time of planting, but when we have to be consider about the nitrogen, we need to be splitted in 3 to 4 times at their different growth stages. Then the most important thing is that when we have to be cultivate the crop, we think that nutrient management is the most effective part in the which is contributed in the production of particular vegetable crops. But I think water management or the water management is the most important crops, important things we need to be consider or focused on that when we have to be cultivate the particular crops. Then what is the main parameters which is associated with the water management? That is, first soil type, then climatic conditions, then what are the different growth stages of the particular crop. On that basis, we need to be irrigate the crop. Means though there are, we have suggest that there is an interval of 4 to 5 days, 8 to 10 days, but we need to be observe or examine the stage of particular soil, again crop, and condition of particular climatic parameters. Means if there is a hot climate, this is it is necessary to reduce the interval of particular frequency of water. Then what are the adverse effect if we have to be mismanage the water condition? For that, means what are the first adverse effect is that there is a effect on the growth, mainly the growth. Again, the spread means the branching habit, means growth number of branches may be reduced due to stress conditions. Again, then which is effect on the initiation of flowering, then retention of flowering, then conversion of flower into the fruit, then retention of fruit. These are the main problems which is associated with the stress condition. For that purpose, water management is most important in the vegetable crops, because there are near about 90 to 120 days crop. In that condition, at different growth stages, from initial after transplanting or from sowing to last harvest, it is necessity to maintain the optimum moisture condition in the soil to harvest the maximum harvest of that particular vegetable crops. In such conditions, we need to maintain the optimum moisture with either we have to be mulch the crop, either it is artificial mulch or the organic mulch. That means that is poly mulching we have to be utilized, organic mulch or whatever the organic material available that field we have to be spread on around the crop. Then again we have to be utilize the anti-transparent, the like as kaolin. In most of the cases, it is utilized in the broad-leaved crops. Then again, in their stages, we have to be utilized. Means we have to be feed that nutrient through spraying. Then again, for retention purpose, we have to be utilize that plant growth regulators as earlier we have discussed. In such cases, the most effective or the most important parameter of that particular crop is that which affect on the yield of particular vegetable crops is the that is incidence of pest and diseases. In all overall the growth of or overall production of that particular crops, there are 3 to 4 parameters which affect on the growth of particular crops. That first is the then selection of variety, then nutrient and water management. Again, that is whatever the intercultural operations, and last one is the that is pest and disease management. These are the main parameters we have to be says that these are the parameters which enhance the growth of particular vegetable crops. Near about 30 to 40% of crop production or the yield is depend on the timely management of particular pest and diseases. In most of the cases, on chili, there are thrips, mites, then fruit flies, then fruit borers. We have seen, and in case of diseases, fruit rot, then that leaf curl, then powdery mildew. These are the different means main diseases we have observed on chili crop. For that purpose, there is a package of practice or there is a recommendation of through different NARS systems where to be followed. In most of the cases, or most of the farmers followed that means directly they have utilized or they have sprayed, they have utilized with the high concentration or that is labeled means that is means it is strong that insecticide they have utilized for control of this pest and this control of this pest. But in most of the cases, whatever the cost of production is associated, mainly in most of the cases the cost of production may be increased due to utilization of this that strong and high priced insecticide and pesticide. For that purpose, initially we have to be taken care about through the preventive measures, that is that neem cake or NSK we can utilize or we can spray for control of that particular pest. For that purpose, if you have to be treat the seed, or initially we have to be treated the seedlings, definitely they helps for reduction of pest and disease in particular crop production stages. For that purpose, at the time of transplanting, we need to be treat the seeds or seedlings. Then again, after transplanting, we have to be utilized that is NSK or neem, that is neem cake. Then again, at the time of normal growth and development of particular crops, we can utilize that neem cake. Again, these are the insecticide which is recommended, that is imida, then fipronil, such type of insecticide we can utilize for control of, that is thrips, mites, and borers. These are the uh, these, diseases that fruit rot. For that purpose, we need to be eradicate, or we need to be that physical control of uh, that affected plant is necessary. Again, in most of the cases, we have utilized the high cost that fungicides for control of uh, disease in vegetables. For that purpose, in most of the diseases of vegetables can be controlled by, that is M45, then carbendazim and copper. If we are if we utilize alternately these crops, definitely we need to be definitely we can decrease, or we can reduce the cost of production of that particular in cost of production in of that particular crops. For that purpose, uh, for fruit rot, we can utilize or use that mancozeb, then hexaconazole, tuberconazole, uh, with the uh, 10 milli per 10 means 1 milli per liter of water. For powdery mildew, we can definitely utilize, that is sulfur or captain. Then again, leaf curl. This is the viral. For that purpose, we need to be control the insects or the sucking pest, which spread the uh, that disease rapidly. This is the leaf curl infected plant, powdery mildew. And again, on tomato, there are same sucking paste, and that is thrips, aphids, whitefly, mites, and again there are types of borers. For that purpose, again we have to be treated the seed, and we have treated the seed at the time of transplant, treated the seedlings at the time of transplanting is necessary. For sucking paste, we have to be utilize the dimethyate and all the recommended doses. Again, the for uh, disease control, same means for this is biocontrol. For borer, we can utilize that is HNPV, whereas 200 milli per means 1 milli per liter of water at the time of evening. Again, most of the things in case of spraying, the time of spraying is most important. In means we have learned, or we have always discuss that in most of the cases we have sprayed either early in the morning or late evening. But I suggest that if we have to be uh, make resist the plants, or we have to be uh, plant plant develop the resistance itself. For that purpose, if you have to be concentrated on the nutrient management and water management, definitely the incidence of pests and diseases is decreased. For that purpose, we need to be manage the dose of nutrient and the time of particular water availability, or the we need to be that supplement of water, or the nutrients. Again, the time of application. Again, there are we have always said that that is uh, means we have the early in the morning and late evening. But my as per the my opinion is that early in the morning is the most effective time rather than the evening, because when there is a opening of stomata, at that time we need to be sprayed, or we need to be spray whatever the insect or insecticide or the pesticide, because at that time only the plant absorb the whatever we have to be applied. For that purpose, we need to be spray, or we need to be taken a spray early in the morning rather than the other part of the day. Means when there is opening of stomata, we need to be spray. And most of the cases, near about up to 8:30, in most of the cases, up to 8:30 to 9 in vegetable crops and up to 10 in most of the fruit crops, there is opening of stomata. At that time only we have to be at that time only we have to be sprayed with the different insecticide and pesticide. Then again, leaf minery on that crop we can control on with name extract. Then again, there are different, that is wilt from due to fusarium and phytophthora. We can control with the means biocontrol with the help of trichoderma, and for that blight, uh, that early and late blight, we can control with the mancozeb and oxychloroquine. Then again, this is leaf curl virus, which is rapidly spread with uh, due to thrips and white fly. These are the some. These are the photographs. Again, with the same themes, we can control the pest and diseases of uh, brinjal. This is leaf curl on brinjal. Again, for cucurbitaceous vegetable crops, these are the different pest and diseases we can control. And this is the most effective, that we can harvest the crops, and we have to be remove the preheat before transporting of that particular crops. These are the yield parameters or yield of particular different vegetable crops. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving the nice lecture. Nandre sir, thank you.
Okay. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
So I'm very welcome to Dr. Mahajan sir for to giving the guideline to our students. So the students always fear about the soil science. So I hope to by after your lecture they are forget that things. So sir, please take the mic and share the screen.
Thank you very much. I'll just share the screen.
Okay, sir.
Before we start, my wholehearted thanks to Mahatma Gandhi Krishi Vidyapit Rahori, then Dr. Devkar sir, also Dean Agriculture College Durai, Dr. Kabre sir, who has been my mentor in entomology when I was studying my undergraduate at Agriculture College Durai, and of course to you, Dr. Mahale, for giving me this opportunity. So before moving ahead, I'll just share the screen and you just let me know if it is okay. You can see that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I clear to everyone or audible to everyone, all the students? Students will never say anything. Am I audible to you all, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So let's begin. I'll just request all the students to put on their videos because it looks very monotonous. Only the host and the one who delivers the lecture will be online. Otherwise, those who are having problem with respect to network, fine. But if you are comfortable, you can switch it on. So it becomes more of a lively discussion. Otherwise, I really do not know what I am going to share to you all. whether you perceive it or not, I can at least figure it out by looking at your faces, whether it is going in the right direction or wrong direction. So it's just a request. It's up to you if you want to do. I'll just put on screen share mode.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
I'll just put the videos also sidewise, so that if anyone is there asking questions, or if any want to ask something, then they are there. So see, friends, the topic which I always like to deliver is, competitive examination, that too soil sciences examination, because most of the students are always afraid of the subjects like soil sciences, and that too in competitive soil sciences exam, they are most reluctant to opt for. So this lecture is prepared in such a way that the basic things which I think as a mentor or as a guide or as your senior, I should tell you, so that you are not scared of these subjects. Because what happens is, there are many ways to achieve a goal or place. But if somebody tells you the easiest way, then it becomes very, very easy for the one to follow. So the lecture for today is how to prepare for competitive soil sciences examination, and it covers all JRF, SRF, ARS net. So we have very small span of time today, only 1 hour. I'll try to finish by 12 exactly, and we'll go a bit speedily, because I want to cover many things. So let me tell you my brief journey. So it was almost third year end of my agriculture college Dhulia, and we were about to go to Rave, and we were staying at the agriculture college Dhulia hostel, boys hostel, and nobody used to stay that time, because it is after exams, after registration, most of the students will take common off, so nobody will be there during that time in the college. So me and my two friends, Kapil and Pankaj, decided that we'll prepare for UPSC. So we went to Indore. From there, we took, asked those so many new vehicles, will be going. They will give you a lift from the Chowfuli, Paroda Chowfuli, we call it. So we took a lift and we went to Indore, and then from there we bought few important books. Then what happened? We started preparation when the college was not in a full swing, and we had to go to Rave. So we had 5-10 days. Then we thought that let's take opinion of somebody. So what happened? We went to Mumbai. There is one institute, State Institute for Administrative Careers at Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. So one of our great senior, Sri Prashant Vadnere, he is now an IS officer. We met him. Then I and my friend Kapil told him that we want to do this and that. And then he told me that how is your financial condition, whether your family will be able to support you, because UPSC is such a thing. If you get it, wonderful. If you don't get it, nobody will ask you. Only you have to face the music. So he said that better you prepare for JRF examination, go to Delhi, and then try to pray for the UPSC examination. Then I made up my mind that I'll prepare for JRF. Then I thought what subject I would take. Then I thought genetics and plant breeding, because most of the people will go for that. And we had few other state seniors who are always, helpful. And they are, maybe since they are a bit experienced and old than us, they prepare early. And we mostly Maharashtrian students don't prepare early, because we immediately get admitted to undergraduation after 12. They spare 1 or 2 years, so they are more experienced, I say. So one of my senior told me that you prepare for genetics and plant breeding. Then he said that you have to read the Fundan Singh book 25 times, then BD Singh sir's book many times. Then I was just scared of that, whether I'll be able to read these books these many times. And there are so many people out there who are preparing for this subject. Then I moved my, inclination towards statistics. Not many people might be applying for this, but I had no senior who would apply or guide me for the statistics or economics. Then finally, I thought that let me prepare for some subject which is of my interest, because I was very good at physics, chemistry, mathematics in my 12th. So out of 100, I could score average 90. So I thought that physics, chemistry, soil science is the subject. Then I chose physical sciences. My intention to tell you that, see, we start from somewhere and we end up somewhere. So this entire process is different for every student. So if you make up the mind that I want to prepare for something, then your lot of time will be saved. I put my example just because in whole this process almost it took two months, and then whatever I did was just to arrive at what I should do. So when you have a lot of guidance available with you, then why you all should not identify what you have to do, so you can save your time. So these kind of lectures, communication with your seniors will help to drastically reduce the time you take to arrive at some decision. I could see lot many students have put their registration numbers 117, 2019, I think Chaitanya and all. I could not resist myself from putting up my number, my registration number, roll number at ACD, Agriculture College today was 73, 2003. One of my, friend, 72, 2003, he is chief of traffic department there also. He's Dheeraj Mahajan, 72, 2003. So we always remember all. See, I don't remember the roll number of my master's degree, PhD. I remember agriculture college when I was doing my undergraduation. Just moving ahead. I completed my undergraduation from Mahatma Phule Krishi Vidyapith, Rahuri Agriculture College Way, then master's degree from Banaras Hindu University, PhD from Indian Agricultural Research Institute. So I could get JRF for after BSc, SRF after MSc, and for after PhD, I appeared in the ARS examination in soil sciences, and then I am here before you. Coming back to the topic, why you should choose soil sciences. The content of my presentation is why you should choose soil science. And if you make up your mind, what should you do before you start? Then how you should prepare for junior research. I assume that few students might be studying in undergraduation, few might be there in this master's degree, and maybe few are aspirant of ARS, SRF, NET examination. Then what are the books that you should refer? Some of the tips which after studying for so long, guiding students for so long, I have developed few tips which will be helpful to you while studying. Additional reading, what you should do. Then coming to, let's start the subject, why soil sciences. See, World Food Prize winner 2012, Daniel Hillel, he says that the name of human beings, Homo sapien, comes from the word humus. And as you know, humus is the most important stuff of life in soil. So the existence, the name of mankind is from the soil. So that's the importance of soil. Maybe there are a lot many subjects in agriculture, and this is a subject which will never disappear. Secondly, as you all aware that Dr. Lal, Professor Lal, he is also alumni of Indian Agricultural Research Institute, where from I have completed my PhD. So I am very grateful to that organization as well. So you can see a soil scientist, we have never heard, mostly breeders, and then there are a lot many subjects are there, World Food Prize, policy makers, then social workers, they would be getting this. But it was maybe first time that Dr. Lal, a soil scientist, for his approaches, soil scientific approaches to combat everything, climate change, food, nutritional security, environmental, eco-friendly approaches, he has won the World Food Prize 2020. Then we have been celebrating International Year of Soils, World Soil Day, International Decades of Soil. Government has so many initiatives like Soil Health, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. This is a subject which is linked to most of these subjects. Okay, you take any subject, you will find link with soil sciences, and that's why this subject is very, very important. I just don't undermine other subjects, but it's my duty to tell positive things about the subject which I have studied, which I have been investigating upon. So before you start, what you should do. For example, now after all our discussion, you have made up your mind what to do, and soil sciences is a subject which is very tough. So my friends, it is not like that. It's a very, very simple subject. You cannot, have any idea about depth of water until unless you jump in there. Okay, maybe it's only a shallow water and you feel that it's very deep, I'll not be able to swim. It's not like that. When you start doing it, then only you realize how easy it is. And the beauty of soil sciences is, you have to study the same soil sciences for your JRF preparation, same soil sciences for your SRF, same soil sciences for your PhD. So it is a subject which is more of a static, a bit of dynamic. And what I used to study in my undergraduation, I study now also. I studied for my master's also. I studied only advanced level sciences you are studying. But for examination, once you prepare well, all your exams will be clarified. If you prepare very well for the JRF, you can crack SRF, you can crack any PhD exam in soil sciences, you can crack any type of ARS net type of examination. So one time preparation helps you a lot. So I prepared very, very well for JRF. And since then, there was no problem absolutely for me. So before you start, what you should do is, you should log on to the ICAR website. And I have just given you the link. Link might change, but you can just Google out and then identify ICAR's PG as postgraduate studies, the syllabus and whatever, what we say, information brochure. For 2021, it might be there now. So you can just identify the site and you can just log in and you just read thoroughly what are the colleges, how you are eligible, what are the last date of application, that everything has to be done. The most important part is syllabus. So most important part is syllabus. Now, you just download the brochure and whenever possible, you can just go through the syllabus. Okay, you just print the soil sciences page. Or if you are preparing for some other subject, you just print the syllabus. Why I tell all the time to the student why they should look for the syllabus. We prepare mostly from the books, and we will advise you read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 books you read. But in this syllabus, there are some portions, which are not covered in all these 10 books. And if you get 4 or 5 questions from that, so it will be very tough for you to answer those questions. So it's very important all the time that you just go for syllabus, and the syllabus should be at your tip of tongue, or maybe you should be able to read it very easily all the time. So first, maybe you prepare for bidding and you prepare for physical sciences, you prepare for maybe statistics, you just download the syllabus and read it word to word. Might be, it will be only 2 to 3 pages. So you read it word by word. So tips before you start, always discuss with maybe, I would say, successful candidate or unsuccessful candidate, what you can say. Why? Because the successful candidates will give you some tips regarding how you can make the efforts to crack the examination. At the same time, I'll advise you just discuss with the rank holders who could not score a good rank, what are the mistakes that they have done. Because I'll put my example itself. I still remember there are a few questions which I wrongly answered in the examination. For example, there was a simple question which was on chemistry. Acetylene is whether it is alkane, alkene, or alkyne. So see, it's very simple basic question, but maybe the heat of the moment that time I could not answer it well and I left it. So, and everybody knows that any 12th studying guy will tell you what acetylene is. So like these few questions, if they tell you, then you can better prepare that there are some areas that you have to, identify, and you have to learn from the others' experiences. Second is you prepare a list of books and start buying it. I would advise that you have your own books all the time. Don't just take library books all the time. If you don't have, financially sound, then you can take it. But if you are, okay, because one time you purchase the books, that will be with you throughout your lifetime. And whatever we mark there, and we make some notes and all. So keep your books with you. Don't give it to your junior. They give them for studying, but keep your books with you only, so that whatever you write there, it will be there with you. Others can refer it, read it, but it will save a lot of your time. Why? Because you know what you have planned to write. Why this preparation of list is important, just to exclude the books which not to read. I always tell students, you can crack any exam by knowing what not to read. We know what to read, but we should, save our time by identifying what should we not read. Because if you have to read 5 books, and you know that there is one book which, it is not at all required to be read because it's overlapping, or some uh, unwanted stuffs are given there. So maybe you might have given 15 days for that to read one book. So that is waste of your time, energy. So I always advise you make a list of what you should read. Always exclude what not to read. So see, exams can only be cracked by knowing what to read, where from to read, and where from not to read. So I always advise to the students, read the guidelines of that information brochures all the time thoroughly. And then what you can do is you try to collect the memory-based question papers from your seniors. Maybe if you had appeared last year, then just sit down and identify what are all the questions that were asked. So that will help you a lot. If you have 5-10 years question papers with you, fine. What I have done is I had all the question papers which I appeared in examination. So I used to keep it with me, and I have been sharing with the students all the time. But what I realized that it's better to publish a book. So I published a book. I'll give you the title of the book also, and all the question papers which I had in mind. I have put as quizzes, 100 question quizzes, 25, 30 quiz are there. So which will be helpful to you. So before you start, you just go through, with the basic soil sciences you have read in your undergraduate courses. So you can just go through what kind of questions are really asked. Some people have their own views and opinions about this, that we should always do the objective type questions when we prepare thoroughly. Once your preparation is done, then you try to attempt. But what I feel is you're not asked to attempt the question paper. You just go through the question paper, memory-based question paper. What are the areas, how the questions are framed. Many times what happens is we miss many things. For example, I'll tell you, law of minimum is given by, so you will write Liebig, but they might be interested in asking the year. So law of minimum, what is the definition and who has given it. But if we don't remember the year, that question is framed. So now that year is also important. Who has given what in what year is very, very important. So if it is orthoclase formula KAL3 something, so how many AL3s are there? So identify the correct formula. Then you will know that we have to remember all the formulas correctly, because very confusing formulas will come. Confusing formulae will come in the question paper. So that's how it helps you, just to have a glance. Don't try to attempt, because if you try to attempt, and you will be disappointed, because you'll not be able to answer many questions since you have started the preparation just now. So coming to JRF and SRF studies. So now, since most of the students are undergraduate and postgraduate students, so let's talk more about JRF and SRF. So you have one major subject group, code number 3, code number might change, but mostly it will be physical sciences. So we don't have soil sciences as such. Physical sciences is there. So in physical sciences, you just see agricultural metrology is there. You just give a minute, okay? I'll just select some. Okay. It looks good. So agricultural meteorology is an important part. Second subject, you see soil sciences and agricultural chemistry, soil water conservation management, soil and water conservation, irrigation management, agricultural physics, agricultural chemicals, environmental sciences. And among these, I think soil sciences is the one which covers majority of the syllabus, and environmental sciences, then agricultural chemicals. If you crack through this examination, you will be admitted to these many courses. But syllabus wise, this will be covering most of the areas. Okay, and I will advise, if you qualify the exam, then you better go for soil science and agricultural chemistry first, because it's a broad subject. So you can be, suitable for any kind of post in future if you study soil sciences. Agricultural metrology, there are only 21 metrologists in the country, agricultural metrology. So it is just narrowing down. Agricultural physics, there are only few colleges, universities which give degree in this subject. Agricultural chemicals, only few colleges like IRI gives degree, and environmental sciences we get degree in most of the. So I would advise, these are all equally important, but soil sciences, to my opinion, is the most important subject which you should look for. If you are interested, if you like meteorology, you study that, no problem, absolutely. If you like physics, you study agricultural physics. Here, see, it is, I think, mostly a computer-based examination nowadays. Earlier, it used to be, physical examination, 2 hours examination, then the pattern of the questions and everything might change, but see, mostly it will be for JRF, 2 hours, a single paper will be there where you'll be asked the objective type questions, and you will be having 4 marks for each and -1 mark for incorrect answer. So negative marking will be there. So we have to keep this in mind all the time. So for JRF SRF, there might be some minor changes, but for JRF, mostly it will be objective type questions with maybe match the pairs also. So 2 hours time is there. I have just copied, for your reference, how you should read this syllabus. So for major subject group like physical sciences, if you see the subjects we have already seen here, Unit 1, let's start and decode Unit 1 and then Unit 2. So here you see importance of agriculture. This is mostly general agriculture. So basic principles of crop production, then principles of nutrient management, package of practices, then nutrient deficiency symptoms, biochemical compounds like carbohydrates and everything. So this is something which you have already studied in your undergraduation, or you can find it out in some general agricultural books like by Dr. Arun Katyan, some by 1 or 2 books by Mr. Jain is there. I have given a list of that also. Coming to the second topic, Unit 2, volumetric analysis, indicating compleximetric analysis, and then spectrophotometry, absorption, emission, atomic structure, and all this. For this, see, this is very important topic which most of the students who study physical sciences will skip. So you have to study 12th chemistry very, very well. You just see what are the topics from here. For example, organic compounds like alcohol, you have to study aldehyde, acid, ester, carbohydrate, fats, liquid, amino acid, and all these. So just collect the books and read this for this. Otherwise, you will not be able to. There are years when only 12th will be asked. Mostly 80% of the questions will be from 12th only. 80% questions will be from sometimes soil sciences only. Most of the questions will be from maybe agricultural metrology only. So it depends on the question setup. So you have to prepare all the syllabus. Unit 3 is about soil sciences, soil as a medium, then rocks, minerals, components, then all the laws, soil physical processes, structures, then soil air, soil water energy, silicate clays, all the concepts, mill equivalent, cation exchange capacity, irrigation water quality, and all those things. So it is mostly soil sciences. You have to read it thoroughly, line to line. So, for example, if I to quote, for example, waterlogged soils, okay, we read most of the syllabus from everywhere, but like submerged soils, waterlogged soil, a very good information is given in Dr. D.K. Das's book, Submerged Soil. One chapter is there. So you have to read this. So you have to identify that I have covered everything, but this waterlogged soils, I am not finding anywhere. So you can read from there. In Unit 4, nutrients, and then the deficiency symptoms, some of the concept, fertility, evaluation, land capability. So most of them we study everything, but like this, soil information system, geographical information system, global positioning system. These are the things which we normally do not study. Radioisotopes, what is radioisotope? Some of the good reading has been given in Dr. D.K. Das's book, Introductory Soil Sciences. So you have to identify the areas which you have not covered from the syllabus, and then you have to prepare well. Then organic matter, soil erosion, then soil pollution, it is given very well in Fundamentals of Soil Sciences, and then Dr. D.K. Das's book. Coming to what are the books that you should read. So I have made a comprehensive list. I think these are the very basic books. There are students, who start preparing for third year onwards. So they have ample amount of time. So they can go through all these books and they can then, try for new books from where they can do some additional reading. But if you want to prepare for physical sciences, I think these many books are more than sufficient. So the very first book which I recommend is Fundamentals of Soil Sciences by Indian Society of Soil Sciences, Introductory Soil Science by Dr. Das, Textbook of Soil Science by Vishwasan Mukherjee, Introductory Pedology by J.L. Sehgal, then Manures and Fertilizer by Mr. Yawalkar, Agarwal and Bokre, Agricultural Metrology by S.R. Gadekar sir, then Glossary. See, these are all books, okay, which cover most of the syllabus. Then I'll recommend, if you are very, not comfortable with reading this book first, because this is a high level sciences are given, very nicely it has given, but you can start with this book first. Then when you are through with the concepts of soil sciences, then you can start reading the second and maybe Dr. D.K. Das's book at third. So that sort of sequence. Otherwise, what happens is if you start reading a tough book initially, you'll feel that I don't understand or I don't get anything and you lose the interest. So start with the simple book like this when you have good understanding of the concepts, and then you can go for the second book and third book. I also advise that some of the books have given glossary at the end. For example, Nature and Properties of Soil by Brady and Wills. They have a good glossary at the end. So what you do is you read that only. This is a very elaborate book. You don't need to read everything. If you don't understand any concept, a simplified version is given in this book. So you can read that concept from here, but do not read entire book. Then only the glossary part you can read. Similarly, a glossary is given at the end of Dr. D.K. Das's book, and you can read from there also. Then NCERT books, you should definitely read. I have told you that 11, 12 books, I think 11th physics is not required, where magnetism and everything is given, which is not at all required. But thermodynamics, electrokinetics of gases, physics, chemistry, then organic compounds, inorganic compounds, chemistry, all those concepts are required. These kind of questions will be definitely asked. If only 20-30 questions appear in examination, if you're not prepared this, your ranks will be reduced drastically. Then 12th physics, I guess, magnetism related chapters are not required. You can see the syllabus for this. You just see there was unit 2, you identify what are the topics, and then you can give the reading. A basic book for statistics. Even if you are not comfortable reading books of the statistics, what you can do is you might have your own notes of agriculture college today for the statistics subject. So you just see that experimental designs, principles of experiments, and then measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, normal distribution, Poisson distribution, regression, correlation. There are so many topics which you can cover from a single book. Don't read in too details because only basic questions on statistics will come. For example, if treatments are these many, replications of these many, what will be the degree of freedom? Then if it is a homogeneous experimental material, what will you use? CRD you use. One-way fertility gradient is there. What are you going to use? RBD, or if it is two-way fertility gradient, then lattice square design you will be using. So like these, you have to, read from the books. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me later. We'll have 10 minutes question answer session at the end. Then memory based question paper is always better to prepare better. So collect the information, and at the same time, as a student, when you appear in an examination, you appear in the examination, come home, sit down, just have a cup of tea, and you take all the books and try to sort out information. When you see books, you know that this was the question of the examination today or yesterday. Try to do this within a span of 2 to 3 days only, because as the time goes, you will not remember anything. So try to remember what within only 2 to 5 days. Okay. And if you remember anything, you can write down immediately after examination, 1 or 2 hours. You will not remember things, but as you sit quiet, discuss with your friends, and then you will gather all the information. What was the difficult part of it? You try to discuss and note down. It will be helpful to you. Sir, I'm in the middle of lecture. Can I call you back after some time, maybe half an hour? Sorry for that. Similarly, for SRF, now you just see soil science and agricultural chemistry, pedology, soil physics, chemistry, fertility, microbiology, and statistics. So after you score well in the undergraduate examination, then you admitted to master's examination, master's degree. Then if you plan to appear for SRF, then most of the syllabus is more or less similar. See, pedology was there, physics was there, chemistry was there, fertility was there, microbiology, and absolutely statistics was there. So 80% of your syllabus is covered when you were preparing for JRF. And now when you are preparing for SRF, you have this subject for 65. It might change, but I have taken from 2020 brochure. The subject is soil science and agricultural chemistry. 2 subjects are there. So in elaborate, the concepts are given. What will I request you, all the JRF students should also look at the syllabus of SRF. There are some areas, where you will find some questions, tricky questions, which might come from this syllabus also. For example, here, aerial photographs, satellite imagery. So you should just have a brief idea what are the recent satellites that are used, which are important. Geographical information system, a detail about the GIS, GPS, what is the long form. If 1 or 2 questions comes on this, I don't think that you just read in too detail. You just go to that topic, maybe Google out and just pen down 10-15 important things. What is long form? What does it mean? Where it is used? An application of remote sensing. Remote sensing is the topic which is now a hot cake. So you can prepare what is remote sensing, active remote sensing, passive remote sensing, how it is used in soil sciences, survey and mapping. So it is basic pedology, but these are some advanced things which are added. So you should definitely read about it. You should not miss this. So if it is benchmark soil, so what are the benchmark soils actually? Soil physics, second unit is physical properties, all Stokes law and everything, soil aggregation, porosity. There are so many good things which have been given in degradation, how we can manage these soils, particle size distribution. So most of the, your undergraduate courses will cover this, but concept of watershed and all is also equally important. 1 or 2 questions will come. What is the size of watershed, mini watershed, micro watershed, like that. Next is soil chemistry. So what is chemical composition of soil, cation exchange capacity? There are so many things here, and this you can cover from all the whatever general books are there. So you can very well cover. So nothing out of syllabus will come from there, mostly in chemistry. I would recommend here that there was one old book of fundamentals of soil sciences with brown cover. You might have that book in your own library at Agriculture College. So there is one chapter in that, soil chemistry. So I strongly recommend that if you are preparing for soil sciences, physical sciences, you read that chapter also. In the recent editions, it has been removed. So you will find lot many information about soil chemistry also there. So charge development and everything very elaborate has been given. You'll find this in most of the books also, but few questions will come from there also. Soil fertility, nothing great in this. Most of the common syllabus are there, but FCO, what is FCO? Their fertilizer control order, when was it come into existence? Then slow release fertilizer, plant nutrition, deficiency symptoms, their fate, then micronutrients, then irrigation water quality, salt affected soils, lime requirement. All these you should just you can cover from most of the books. But if you come across some of the areas, like for example potentiometry, this, so from the 12th chemistry book you can identify, or maybe from some analytical books you refer for your analysis, X-ray diffractometry. So if you don't know about it, you just Google out, you write down somewhere. In some of the books, X-ray diffractometry will be given. So you read about this also. Mass spectrometry, this is a good analytical technique. So you should definitely read about this. So in most of the conventional books, it will not be given. So you should know that these are the topics which I am missing, which I have not prepared from the book. So I have to prepare. So you make separate notes for this and read it, because 1 or 2 questions from this aspect will make a huge difference. Soil microbiology, then most of the things are there, what you learn in your undergraduate courses, master degree courses, nothing very separate or unique things are there. But some of the, for example, phylosphere, so you read about this, what exactly it is, leaf surface, microbiology, or maybe root surface, rhizosphere, rhizoplane, what are these concepts? Biofertilizers, solubilizing biofertilizers are there, phosphate, potassium, if for micronutrients, any are there. Recent developments you should definitely read. For statistics, I recommend JRF students should also read this syllabus. Experimental designs, then statistical measures of central tendency, dispersion, correlation, regression, test of significance, t-test, f-test, computer in soil research, and the geostatistics. Geostatistics you should definitely read. So this will cover JRF, SRF, ARS, all the statistical things. So maybe 80% you can find in most of the books or notes, or some of the general agriculture books, but like computer in soil research, then geostatistics, this you may find in some of the specific books, or maybe you can just Google out, and then if you are learning it, you can just make a 1 or 2 page notes also. For general agriculture, you have a wonderful book by MS Rathod. You can read that. Then General Agriculture by Dr. S.R. Kantawa. Then one of my friend, Rup Singh Maitri, and his junior, a wonderful book, a good read. What they have done is they have tried to make it more comprehensive, and most of the recent things are also given. Fundamentals of agriculture. So these 4 would be more than sufficient. You can identify also, these are mostly objective type. This is liner, one-liners like that. These both of the books are. So you can read these 2. So many times people ask whether we should read general agriculture first or physical sciences first. So I would recommend that you can do that parallelly. 80% of your time devote for main subject, 20% of time you devote for this. So maybe in a day or in a week, you just see that you will be reading the general agriculture for 1 or 2 hours every day, or maybe 1 or 2 days in a week. Like that you can prepare. But I'll recommend you read simultaneously. Maybe in evening hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, you just give a read to this. Coming to ARS Net, I'll not speak much about it, because now most of the students are in MSc, and by the time you appear for this, you need PhD degree maybe. So at this point of time, only a glance of it, agricultural research services. Most of the time people do not know what ARS also is. So agricultural research services, if you are a postgraduate in soil sciences in any subject of agriculture, you can appear for ARS examination, which is parallel to UPSC exam, and it is conducted by Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board. So if you appear in pre-exam, you qualify, then you appear in mains exam, and then you do appear in interview, and if you're selected, then you become an ARS scientist. For example, I'm working here at ICR, Central Coastal Agricultural Research Institute, which is one of the institute of ICR, as an ARS scientist in the discipline of soil sciences. So you will have preliminary exam, objective type 150 marks, 2 hours, ARS examination, which will be 240 marks, 3 hours, and Viva examination, 60 marks. So this is purely a different sort of examination in 3 phases. So we can have maybe a separate discussion sometimes if need based. Then these are the details of the ARS net examination. And the syllabus is again see pedology, physics, chemistry, fertility, soil microbiology, statistics. So it is more or less, and so you'll find most of the syllabus are same only. See, I just want to tell you some of the books which are of common, which cover soil sciences in general. So I sorted out in different headings. Books covering all the aspects, soil sciences from different aspects, fundamentals of soil science, introductory. So these cover in general most of the aspects of the soil sciences. But for further additional reading, what you can do is there is one more book, Soil Science: An Introduction by Indian Society of Soil Sciences, Nature and Properties by Brad Higgins. So I told you already, in elaborate way, the concepts are given in Nature and Properties of Soil Sciences. So you can study from there also. Pedology, you can study from an introductory pedology from JL Sehgal. Some additional things, there is a manual from NBSS CLUP for topics like GIS, GPS, how we use that in pedology, because these topics will not be covered in most of the books. So you can do the additional reading also. For physics, I recommend that you don't have to read physics separately from the book, but if you have time, you can definitely read this book by A.K. Saha and A. Saha, textbook of physics, soil physics. Then some of the additional, but at this stage, I think you don't need to read this. This is high level, but training manual on soil conservation, where erosion, watershed, soil and water conservation, these are all given. If you have time, then you can give a reading to it. If you want to read chemistry additionally, then soil chemistry, principles of soil chemistry by Kim H. Tan, in one wonderful book. But again, it is very elaborate and very classical book in soil chemistry. But you don't have to read it, completely. Maybe you identify that X-ray diffractometry or diffuse double layer or some other aspects you want to read. You don't understand from any book, you can read from here. Soil fertility and fertilizers by Tisdale Nelson, and then Dr. R.K. Basar. These are all additional books which I am telling you. If you have time, then you can go through. Some of the latest, analytical techniques like dehydrogenase analysis, then microbial properties analysis, you can definitely read. Most of the times we prepare for entire subject, but we don't prepare for the analytical techniques. So I strongly recommend that you, for carbon, how it is analyzed, nitrogen, how it is analyzed, what is flame photometer, how it works, whether it is absorption spectrometry or emission spectrophotometry, what is double AS, micronutrients, how you analyze, if it is nitrogen analysis, alkaline potassium permanganate. So potassium permanganate concentration, how much it is, 0.32% or 0.64%, what exactly it is. If it is K2Cr2O7, what is the concentration, what is the color of K2Cr2O7. So when you are in the laboratory, you just pay attention, what is the color, what is the concentration. Otherwise, these are all questions. You cannot mug up each and everything, but you can relate things when you do physically. For example, if you are doing a practical, and you remember in carbon analysis, we had prepared K2Cr2 and it looks orange in color. So if the question comes, what is the color of K2Cr2O7? You can get it. So what was the concentration? So whether it is 0.02 normal or 0.5 molar, whatever it is. So you have to be watchful about this. And apart from all these physical chemical properties, microbial properties like soil microbial biomass, carbon, basal soil respiration, then dehydrogenase activity, urease, and all these you should read in brief. Just a minute, if you excuse me. Please excuse me. Sometimes you cannot avoid some of the calls. Actually, it was from our director, sir. There was some urgent work, so please excuse me for that. So microbial properties you should definitely look for. Then analysis related, I was just telling you. So here is the slide where you can read that. So method of soil analysis by H.L. Standards. Then one book is there, Hansing, Chonkar sir and Divedi. So you should definitely read this. This is additional book. And if you're not comfortable, what you can do is whatever your um, under graduation practical classes, books, manuals are there. You can read that also because most of the things are similar. Agricultural statistics, one more book is that by R. Rangaswamy. So if you want to read, you can read this. Otherwise, some general notes on whatever topics we have seen can be easily prepared from there. So for ARS examination tips, I will not spend time on this because most of the people are not preparing for that right now. So for JRF, what you can do is some recent readings or additional reading that you should do is see new and trending topics in soil sciences you should prepare for: phytoremediation, remote sensing, carbon sequestration, conservation agriculture, climate smart agriculture, then soil quality, soil health, soil resilience. So we prepare everything from the books, but some of the recent concept that we have to prepare from here. You read about some recent scheme on soil health mission, Paramparagat Krishi Yojana, and the National Soil Health Mission is there. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture is there. Then you check the ICR website. It is for all the people. What additional they should do? You check ICR website for latest happening, any celebration of recent events, new project that has been done, some new significant happening related to your subject, or maybe for general agriculture also. For example, NAIP. What is the long form of NAIP? So it will be given there. These are the new projects launched by World Bank. Who funds it? What is this project? So very brief reading you can do. Journals and published from where from the journals are published. So plant and soil. So this you can find from Introductory Soil Sciences, a book by Dr. D.K. Das. Analysis, you should read this, should be covered, and biological properties. Revise regularly. You should do revisions regularly. Study in groups. Don't study in isolation. Sometimes some of the people are comfortable reading alone, but study in groups always help. So our group discussion will always help. Then prepare your own notes, prepare the tabular information and fix it in your room. And I just fundamentals of soil science, they have many tables given. So what you can do is you can just take a print or Xerox and you put it in your room or make some file so that you can see it regularly when you are there, not reading anything. You just scroll through, many questions will come from that. All the formulas put at one place, all the authors put at one place, all the scientific concept put at one place. Like that, you try to segregate things. So it will be easy for you when you prepare or revise. Some of the multiple choice question books which are there. One book is by me. So Soil Science at a Glance, you can give a reading. Then one of my senior has written one book, Objective Soil Sciences by T. Ramesh. So this is a bigger or larger version. My book is a shorter one. So I have only 3,000 questions or something. They might have 6,000, 7,000 questions. So these two books you can read. And one more book is there, Treatise of Soil Science, or by Dr. Itela Satyanarayana. So he's from Hyderabad, and you can read his book also. So these 2-3 books are more than sufficient. It's up to you what book you want to refer. And finally, I'm sorry for the spelling mistake. Dean, Agriculture College today, then Kabre sir, Mahale sir, deeply indebted to the college and MPK Viravi, my juniors who helped. I took some material from them sometimes for preparation, then my institute and wherever I'm studied, all the teachers, BHU is Agriculture College today. I give my sincere heartfelt thanks to all of you. I just want to share this photo most of the time when it is a nostalgic feeling in 2003, we had a tour and we came to Goa, the place where I am working right now. And it is just 2 minutes from my working location. So all my batchmates and me, we came here. I never knew that destiny will bring me here only. And this is a church where if you visit once, you will visit definitely for the second time also. This is me, completely different that time. And if you have any questions, we have 5 minutes time. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Yes, students. Ask your queries to Dr. Mahajan, sir.
Either they understood everything or they did not follow anything. I'll request student, they can ask me questions maybe now, or I'll just put my email ID. So if you have any question, you can ask later also. But it's always great, you know, I feel fortunate. You people have this kind of forums where the information is given to you in your laptop, in your mobile. And so I had to go to Mumbai, then we had to go to Delhi to seek guidance from our senior. We used to go there, stay there, and then we used to get. Right now, you can get very easily. So you try to, utilize this opportunity.
Sir, I have given a chat box question.
Just see. So last sixth semester, how to score more mark. I think all the presentation was about that only. How to score more marks. Your rank was 223. It seems to be a good rank. Maybe you are appearing student last time, third year student. Now you are in last
Sixth
year.
semester, sir.
What semester you are studying?
Sir, I am normally have given the examination for preparation purpose.
You might be in the last year, fourth year.
Yes, sir. Now in sixth semester, sir. Third year.
Examination of yours. So I think 223 is a good rank. Maybe you might not have prepared well that time. You might have just started. So I guess my presentation was all about what was there. Some tips, for example, try to solve.
Sir, negative marking, sir, more.
Yeah, what you should do is most of the times, the answer that ticks your mind first is the correct answer. Secondly, what you can do is the questions which take a lot of time, you try to avoid that. For example, calculations are asked in examination many times. If permanent melting point, this is that, how much will be the available. So if you're not comfortable solving it at the first go, what you do is all the calculation, keep it aside. If you're not very comfortable, you do it in a second round. So in first round, you try to attempt all the easy questions as early as possible. Okay, so maybe you have solved 60% of questions, which are very, very easy. And then second round, you go for the questions, which you had a second opinion, and then think over it and then try to solve it. And then you come to the mathematical problems and some tricky questions. Okay, now you have come to the end that you have solved maybe questions which you thought to your mind were correct. And then you maybe out of 150 questions or whatever it is, don't attempt for negative marking too much. You can take, a risk. For example, for 2-3 questions, which you feel that I have 70 to 80% faith in me that this is the correct answer. So 2-3 questions like that you can do, but don't attempt 10 negative marking questions, 20 negative marking questions. That will reduce. So 1, 2, 3, and because if your answer is correct, so automatically that compensates your other 1 or 2 wrong answers. But don't attempt too much. I'll advise don't attempt any wrong question, but you can take risk up to 1 or 2, 3 questions, which you feel that 70, 80% you are. So like this, if you appear in examination, I think you should be able to score good marks. One, you try to take mock test. Okay, you ask your friend or something, from your division, if somebody teacher prepares a question paper, or you take my book. Okay, so you take 100 questions quiz.
I have, sir.
Yes, so then you just fix time that if for 150 questions you have 2 hours, so 100, how much is there? You try to solve. So that will help you a lot.
sir, definitely I will get.
Otherwise, studying, okay, practicing is different, and playing in actual match is different. Studying in room is different. So the one who is very, very good during the examination score the mark. See, during that time, some simple advice which I would give: don't fight with anybody during the exam time. Even if the rickshawala asks you that 10 rupees is the rent, 20 rupees is the rent, so better you give him. Just don't fight. Be calm, be quiet. Don't indulge into any activity which will affect your performance. So that's how your approach should be during those 5-10 days. And then don't look what is happening around. Okay, just be in the hall, just be in the, don't panic. Many times, people, they make mistakes just because they are panic during the examination. They get scared, they get afraid of. For that, you do as many as mock tests as possible. Then don't keep filling up the questions at the end. Simultaneously you do. I told you, just if you are comfortable with 60 questions, okay, you find out one and then see, you just mark it first. Don't keep it at last everything will be a problem. Don't keep anything for last minute. Okay, like this, if you make a strategy, I guess you should be able to score better marks. These are some general suggestions.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Any more? So PG students, I think some PG students also joined.
Okay. Mostly master's degree, I think.
Yeah.
Namaste, sir.
Abre sir.
हॅलो कसं आहे? हाऊ आर यू?
एकदम मजेत. तुम्ही कसे?
मस्त मस्त एकदम व्यवस्थित आहे. इकडे गावी आलेलो आहे मग इकडे.
बरं. झालं सर लेक्चर ऑलमोस्ट. I tried to tell people that what maybe soil science or maybe some other subject, how their approach should be. If it's specifically soil science, how should they prepare, and why these subjects are so important.
Yes, that is very important. Okay, Mahle sir.
Okay,
Mahle
sir.
Yeah, I'll, because got to go somewhere.
Okay.
So
Thank you, sir,
for your information. What has happened is, and I'm leaving the country for availing one fellowship on March end. So there are so many things to be wind up. I thought what to do when your phone came. So I immediately said, no, I can drop some of the other lecture, but I'll never drop the lecture at Agriculture College today. So
thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir, for giving the time to guide our students regarding the how to prepare for the competitive exams, especially in soil science. Thank you for giving the time, and I'm also thankful to Dr. Kabre sir.
Actually he is our student na. मग आम्ही हक्काने सांगू शकतो. You have to take this lecture na. That's advantage for us actually. Very well. And okay, students also get some encouragement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can go as a scientist also.
Yes.
That's why we're inviting you frequently.
Yes, sir. I'm anytime ready.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It is mine, sir. And at the outset, I will thank once again to Dean sir, Dr. Devkar sir, and Dr. Ghanshyam Kabre sir, who has been my mentor, Dr. Mahale for coordinating, and all the students who patiently listened to me. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to answer any more questions. I have put down my email ID. You can just drop, maybe not immediately, but in span of 1 or 2 days, I can reply back. Thank you, Mahale sir. Then can I take your leave?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Kabre sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So students, we have the two sessions which are started from the 2 p.m. So kindly join at 2 p.m. We have the two sessions, one of the commercial organic farming. So first session start with the canopy management in fruit crops by Dr. S.D. Patil sir, and then the commercial organic farming by Dr. Prashant Bodke sir. He is the head Department of Agronomy at BSKKV Dapoli. So must be connect at 2 p.m. So thank you. So now we leave the session and join again at 2 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Kabri sir, thank you.